It's Sunday morning or afternoon or evening. It's what are you not doing in church, truant? Hi, I'm Chris. I'm Vangelist from the internet, and today, for the very first time, I'm going to be hosting a stream on youtube.com/ at shift2 Vangelist. So hello. I want to say hello, especially to Long Was Here, Adamus Prime 24, TFA Cliff, Sam Wellbell, Switcheruby, Ask Away, V-Rider, Synth, Chris Muse, Kadjit, and Kimono Theatre. Hello, welcome. Transformers TCG, alive and well in better hands. I actually, you will see a fresh video about that possibly in March to time with TFCon LA. So I'm doing something sedate today, and I'm resurrecting the Boostershred stream, because I don't think I've done one since my final box of Transformers trading card game Wave 5 Titan Masters Attack, which was the final Wizards of the Coast wave of Transformers TCG, a very rare wave. It's hard to find copies of it, and it broke the game. And various community efforts, no matter who it was, all of them had one major unifying factor, which is nobody liked Wave 5 as a meta, and everyone tried to fix it. I was talking to some folks about that yesterday, actually, at an Ultraman card game event at the EB Games across from the Eaton Center, which is a game that is finally coming to Canada. I've been complaining for a year about the game coming to Canada, and it's not only in Canada. The person who is spearheading it being in Canada is literally in Canada, running around being an event organizer, carrying boxes of Zeton promos, and it turns out he's watched my YouTube channel for many years, so I only had to send one awkward email before we could just sort of relax and speak casually. What was in Wave 5? Primarily, it was two things. There were a couple battle cards that were too powerful, one of them being Fusion Borer, which was simply, it was such a powerful weapon, there was no reason not to put it into a deck. And if there is one thing that is usually like a sign that something is off with a trading card game in which you construct a deck yourself, if nearly every single deck uses the same single card, that single card may be a problem. It may not be, but it is, something to look into. The bigger problem was that Wave 5 introduced Titan Masters, aka Headmasters, where there were characters who had an alt mode and not a bot mode, but a body mode, and then you could only play them if you played them with a Titan Master who would start on the field, separated. And then as part of setup, you would pair a Titan Master with each body. They would all have their own star counts, and then when the body character is KO'd, the head would eject and flip to robot mode and hit the table. So the big problem is there were I always remember it as 18 Titan Masters, but it might have been a different number. Something like that, right? Just imagine there's 18 Titan Masters. They all confer different bonuses, be it, a perpetual bold or tough effect, or plus piercing, or some other kind of effect. Two of them would be a plus HP effect, increasing the health total of the character that they were attached to, and when a Titan Master ejected and turned into robot mode, they would be a little guy with tiny stats and their effect that they brought. The plus HP guys would thus have enough HP sometimes to survive getting hit once. And it meant that if you did not use the 2 plus HP heads as your selected Titan Masters, you were using objectively worse heads that were outside of the scope of taste or aesthetics, or even outside the scope of gameplay styles. They were simply numerically, mathematically, the 2 best heads of the 18 by a wide margin. And it meant that we went from being, in waves 3 and 4, it became a game where I would say the top meta could contain anywhere from 3 to 5 unique decks, which is pretty healthy, all things considered. And then with Wave 5, as far as anyone could tell, because that top meta was mostly played online, the top deck, there were 2 top decks, sometimes a third one. They were all Decepticons, all Titan Masters, and it was an ugly, unpleasant meta, which is far behind all of us now. That's back in 2020. Anyway, that's my Transformers TCG ramble. I can actually show you some cool stuff from a bunch of things. I got props. We're gonna jump right to the first. We're gonna jump to the browser, actually, just in case you want to buy some stickers to stick onto your trading cards. You can use QT Vangelis through this month of February 2026 and get 15% off and feed the machine. But that brings us to the desktop view. So ignore these for now. First off, let me show you what Ultraman cards look like. This game's been out everywhere but Canada for just over a year, so if you are in the States, you could actually be buying 6 waves of this game already. But these were the two first starter decks. We had a starter event last Friday where you randomly got one of these 2 starter decks, and that was your deck for the event. So I ended up with the blue one, but then I just bought the red one afterwards. One standout thing about this game is that the card quality is sick. Here's a foil card, right? This is just a basic starter deck foil, but it's very textured. And these cards are very thick, and they are so textured that they even got textured embossing on every card back, which is it's disgustingly nice. And they are formulated to survive playing unsleeved, because ostensibly children love Ultraman, and ostensibly children are supposed to be able to play this game. But the cool stuff, the neat shiny stuff, is we got promos at that event, and then I also got more promos because I came in third place. So I'll show you the promos because they're shiny. This is my shiny cardboard catch-up stream. Just gotta get them all out of here. These are the demo decks. It's 2 half decks for teaching the game. So first promos. These were the participation promos. So if you showed up to the release event, EJ gave everyone a little pack of these 4 promo cards. These are all cards that are in the first set. None of them are mechanically unique. They're just alt arts with, more shine on them. So there's one of several Ultraman Arcs, one of several Ultraman Zeros, 2 scene cards, Arc to the Future, which has this neat, spiral graph thing going on. And the Champion of the Fierce Fight, there's a Zeton there. Be careful. Zeton is dangerous. There's some more kooky Ultra Q style stuff in the background. But yeah, this texture on the back is beautiful. Hello, Mistake Boy. I am here on the Lord's Day to talk about shiny cardboard. HoloLive's got some. I heard the HoloLive card game has really nice cards too. It's a great way to get people into a card game, is for just the cards to feel nice. By the way, another promo I got. This was, I believe this was for the top 8. All got a promo Baltan. This is one of 3. There are only 3 mechanically unique promos in the game, and EJ specifically is not the biggest fan of mechanically unique promos. Thus, he is trying to make sure that the 3 mechanically unique promos, 2 of them they really matter. The third one is just another Ultraman Decker who is fine, but not as key as these ones. This Baltan is also a box topper, and this is a key thing here. A deck may include any number of this card. So when that was true with no restrictions, this card proceeded to take over the meta, apparently. So there is a limit, I believe, of 6 that can be in a deck at a given time. And thus, it would behoove you to eventually collect 6 of these, because apparently the 6 Baltan deck is still pretty good. But you can see there's a neat, hollow treatment on the ghost Baltans. They all turn pixelated as you turn this thing around. It's kind of neat. Spot gloss on the lead Baltan. The important one, though, and as of now, I actually have a playset, is mechanically unique promo Zeton. This is the most important mechanically unique promo in the game. EJ had a print run of them done specifically for Canada to ensure that any Canadian player who wants to really play this game heavily will have access to be able to collect a playset of these, which is 4. So I got 4. What happened is I came in third place, which meant that I got 2. But then because the booster packs still haven't shown up here, instead of booster packs, everyone at the end of the tournament just got another Zeton. And then at the EB Games event yesterday, EJ was doing a thing where he has 6 or 7 pre-constructed decks that are Wave 6 current, very well done decks. EJ is actually a decent, if not highly talented, card player. So if you could beat EJ with a random one of his decks versus a random one of his decks, piloted by him, yesterday, then you would win another Zeton, and I did. I did the what was the combo? The Max Tiga combo. Ultraman Max has a level 3, where if that level 3 is in the first lane of the game, he has a plus 3,000 attack buff. And Tiga's level 3, referred to at one point as the Blue Eyes White Dragon of this game, has an ability that allows you to move the contents of one of your lanes to another one, which is a horrifically powerful ability that is unlikely to ever appear again. I believe... I'm not sure... Actually, no, never mind. I'm thinking of something else. But anyway, I set up the thing, and so I won the game on putting down a level 3 Ultraman Max and then using level 3 Tiga to swap them around and put Max into the first lane and secure Zeton number 4. Zeton is important because his text is, while there is only one character name among the Ultra heroes, your opponents in your opponent's field, this character's BP, or battle points, becomes EX, or extra. So, Zeton is a 6, so Zeton usually is just this number over here, which is 9,000. If you had like a level 5 Zeton and then played this on top of it, he would be 14,000. That's incredibly unlikely in the current state of the game as far as I'm aware. But if Zeton is playing against, like, I think Ultraman Arc, I was told, is a mono-Ultra deck, that usually everyone is Arc. So if you're playing against a field of everyone is the same Ultraman, then Zeton becomes a 20,000 BP character, and that is apparently the highest attack number in the game. So this is an answer card to any Ultra that becomes a mono-Ultra meta deck. One control is that then people who are not playing that deck, or even people playing that deck, I guess, can pack along, you know, a set of Zetons to counteract some of those lanes. Oh, thank you. Also, hello, ID Denuva. They announced a card that does the Tiga swap thing, but to your opponent's lane. Yeah, I think that's Chimera in Wave 7. Wave 7 is, like, the most kaiju-full wave, and it's adding in, you know, Carmilla. And she does the Tiga thing, but to your opponents. Which I think is still pretty dang powerful. I would just say it seems, you know, slightly less powerful, because that depends on what your opponent's cards are, whereas the Tiga swap is you planning to swap something that could be, you know, very strong. Anyway, it's a really fascinating game, and it's super dead-ass simple, because the game is just like, there are 2 card types. I'll show you them. This is the best part of the Ultraman card game, in my opinion, design-wise, is there's 2 card types. Most of your deck is going to be characters. They could be Ultra heroes, they could be mech heroes, or they could be kaiju, right? Mostly just characters. These are all the same card type. The other card type are scenes. You don't want a deck full of scenes necessarily, but usually you'll have like 6 to 12 scenes. It's a 50 card deck. Play sets are 4, so there's also a decent amount of consistency. I got an interview I recorded with EJ that's going to be hopefully going up in the next week or so. And that's it. So the whole way the game plays is you put a character face down in a new lane. You start with lane 1 and you just keep making lanes or battles. And then you can choose to upgrade, including that lane. Any of your lanes you can upgrade by 1 level once. And to upgrade, it has to be a sequential number. So if you lay down a 1, it can be a 2. If you lay down a 2, it can be a 3. And it has to be the same name, unless you're playing, I think, limited. And then you reveal, and then you just sort out who's winning. And you win if you end a turn winning 3 battles, you are the winner. And that's it. So it's a super fast game. The actual skeleton is super simple. And it is, despite being a fast game, a game where you cannot OTK 1 turn kill someone. Nobody can win until turn 3. And I think that's very interesting. The playtime of a game of this is about 7 to 10 minutes, and it's very satisfying. So, like, you can run an Ultraman tournament at a game store in, like, 30 minutes. I'm really pleased with this game. There's a lot of sideways power creep as opposed to upwards power creep that I have observed, which is how card design worked for this game. So, like, my favorite examples from set 2, Rosso and Blue. I got to play that deck against EJ a couple times. Rosso and Blue have this thing where when you get them up to level 3, one of them says you can discard a scene from your hand to your discard pile. And you can do that up to twice. And each time you do it, it's plus 1,000 BP to one of your characters. So you're using scenes also as bullets. Then the other one at level 3 says you can exile, remove from the game, a scene card from your graveyard or your discard pile. And when you do, you can basically cast its scene effect as a spell. So Rosso and Blue turn scenes into attack pumps and sorcery spells. And they turn the game into a spell slinger game for their side. And then apparently, I forgot what wave, I think it's wave 4, they got an update to add more cards that also care about Rosso and Blue being in alternating order in the lanes. So, like, if this Rosso has a blue to his left and his right, he gets, like, this big attack buff or something, or a grade up. So it's a really cool game. It's a great description I didn't think of. Ultraman is a great second game. So if you're super deep into another game, for example, Ultraman is easy to fit into your life because you can play a high-level competitive game of Ultraman in 10 minutes and then resume playing your other one. Also, it's currently, I think, the only tokusatsu tabletop game on the market that is not over with the ending of Heroes of the Grid and what seems to be the ending of the deck building Power Rangers game. It doesn't seem like that thing has anything else coming out for it. Mistake Boy, you don't want a deck full of scenes. I mean, listen, sometimes I do. Like, sometimes I want to head out there with my deck of scenes and just go like, everyone look at me. Flame Titan, yes, I am a big fan of Sideways Power Creep. You have more decks out there, and you don't have, like, parasitic design happening. Oh, Ruby, you're heading out to your locals. Good luck. If you make it back and we're still going, please do tell us all how you did. But no, good luck. I hope if you're getting any participation packs or whatever, you get all the good promos. I'm not sure how they do things with that game. But yeah, I am opening some Flesh and Blood. This is the new set that just came out, Compendium of Rathe. This is a big set. This is the what seems to be now once every 3 years, smaller pack size, but everyone gets a card. What's the big thing here? A timeless collection for every hero. So Flesh and Blood is a game that is hero-based. So every deck is based around a named character. You pick your hero, build the deck around them. So there's over 50 heroes. So this is trying to provide cards for just about every legally playable hero, especially in the new budget format Silver Age, which this set is also supposed to give a big bump to. So I will mention, number one, there was a promo that could be given out as a buy-a-box promo, so I got one. This is the promo. This is a reprint of Pursuit of Knowledge in the Antiquities Cold Foil frame. So this is Flesh and Blood's personal, like, fancy foiling. They have rainbow foiling, and then they have cold foiling, which is this, like, much more metallic, frosted, contained foiling. And the Antiquity frame is something that is a special frame job they're doing for this set specifically, with extended art and this sort of livery on the sides. Pursuit of Knowledge is generic, so anyone can use any card that says generic. And it's an attack. If it hits, then your hero has +1 intelligence till end of turn, which means basically at the end of the turn you draw an extra card, which is fairly powerful. It's pitchable for 3, it's a blue, so that's always helpful. It costs 2 for 4, which is not great. Blocks for 2, which is not great, but the effect is something. I don't know a lot about the staple generic actions, but my understanding is there are a couple characters who do play this, and now I have a fancy one, so I feel pretty cool. I also need to reveal, I have opened a couple packs of this set. I bought 3 packs at one of my local places just to buy some packs. Didn't pull anything super interesting. But then I bought one of the new Silver Age budget format precon decks. They've released 10 of them along with this. So I picked up this precon for a character that, like, I don't have any cards for. This is Phi, the Draconic Ninja. And in the Silver Age precons, you get a pack as well. And in that pack, I did get a Cold Foil Majestic, which is the first of the more rare rarities. So I got the Havoc Wrap in Cold Foil. This is a piece of Chaos equipment, which is a specialization that's kind of just now getting more card support. It primarily, so far, only belongs to one assassin, but they are building out an identity for Chaos, which is that you deliver effects that do the same thing to both players, which is not terribly common in the game. So this one is a piece of chest armor. You can use it to block for 1 once, and then you can tap it. And if you tap it, cards all cost 1 less to play. Doesn't untap during your end phase. Its effect just stays in place as long as this thing is on the field, and at the start of your turn you destroy it. So basically, you tap it, all your cards cost 1 less to play. All of your opponent's cards cost 1 less to play. It comes back to your turn, and then you destroy it. There are mechanically ways for this to go away. in between that, but those would be at your opponent's behest for the most part, I believe. So it's unlikely that that would happen unless your opponent is strange and is like, no, I want my cards to cost resources as normal. That's my long-winded way of rambling about my cards a whole lot. So I'm gonna pull this thing open. One thing about Flesh and Blood, it doesn't have a great pack opening experience for the most part. That's one of the downsides of the game. In the sense that it's unlikely that you open packs of Flesh and Blood and quote-unquote make your money back. So that's something that I want to acknowledge up front. Also, number 2, opening trading card packs is gambling. And you need to have a certain level of self-awareness about that when you open booster packs of trading card games, because often people will say, hey, how many boxes should I buy of the new set to ensure I get X, Y, or Z? And it's always like, none. You should just buy them single if you need them. This is for multiple things. Number 1, buying booster packs, it's a way to, give some support to your local gaming store. But number 2, it is also a way to hit some of that rip the pack dopamine. Number 3, in my case, I had enough store credit for this booster box to cost me $7, so that is another reason why I have this booster box. So yeah, you want to make sure that you are being responsible and self-aware more than anything else with trading card booster anything. So I wanted to lay that out, because that's something that's come up before. When Magic the Gathering had their Transformers Commander cards come out in the Brothers War set, there were some Transformers fans at the time who were like, oh, how many packs should I be buying to get all the Transformers? And again, it was like, none. Because Magic players don't even like these cards, so just buy the Transformers cards. You will be able to buy them for cheaper than trying to rip packs to get them. Yeah, no, if you wanted specific Pokemon cards, then you should buy the singles, because otherwise you are gambling. And there is no guarantee that you'll get anything when you open packs. I have opened a box of Flesh and Blood, admittedly one I got on discount during Black Friday, and I was like, whatever, let's buy a box. This will be fun. And it was fun to open them. That box was abysmal. That box was like, there was nothing exciting in there. It was one of the worst end tallies of a box opening I've ever had. But I was like, whatever. I want some pirate cards. It was the pirate set. I didn't really have many pirate cards, so it helped me set up my Silver Age budget format pirate deck that I really like for Scurv. Also, there's a box topper. That frame that the fancy card was on, that's a frame that anything in this pack will have. This is the Antiquities pack box topper that has some fancy stuff in it. I'm going to be saving this for the end because I'm one of those streamers. Yeah, from the pirate set for Silver Age, one of my favorite Silver Age decks I've played so far is Scurv, the secret character from the pirate set. He's a thief. He has a friend who's a little octopus with a bandana. It's a fun deck. You use a lot of pummel, and you use a lot of your money or your life, which is, if this attack hits, then your opponent either gives you a gold, and if they don't have a gold, they take 2 damage. And then if you're a thief, which is Scurv only, do this check a second time. So it means if they don't know your deck that well, you can threaten a 6 damage attack, and go like, by the way, if this hits you, we'll take 4 more damage. And then they go like, oh, I see what your deck is doing. So I'm going to start ripping these open. I don't have a good place to put my recycling. I'm just going to put it here for now. Swing this down a little bit. So there's another thing about Flesh and Blood right now. When it's English language packs that come from Belgium, they have this really great thing, which is that the wrappers are paper. So number 1, they're recyclable immensely, but number 2, they make a satisfying noise when you rip them. Listen to this. Oh! They rip like actual wrapping paper. It's very satisfying. Sports Pepper, I'm still a Rigor Mortis fan on name alone. Top tier undead pirate name. Gravy Bones, the pirate necromancer, gets 2 more crewmates in this set. One of them is a ghost in a sheet called Boo, if I recall correctly. Anyway, let's see what we got. So this set has a lot of commons and rares, the 2 lower rarities, which are the rarities that you can use for Silver Age. So for those who are curious to actually play this game, Silver Age is an excellent way to start playing this game, because every card costs at most, I think maybe $3. You can buy basically a Silver Age precon. I would say purchase. There's some specific ones are the ones I would recommend purchasing if you've never played before. But it's like about $20, and then you have a deck that is playable, and you can just start playing the game. So this is Become the Cup. It's one of the new ninja cards. There's another card that goes with this. This one is when you play this, you choose a color. So you can see this is red. There's 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue. And there are ninja cards and combo cards that care about colors. So this one lets you change its color to any of the 3 colors you want after you've played it. That might be relevant for the character you're playing. Here's Man Overboard. It's a pirate necromancer card. So there are pirate cards, because there's 4 pirate characters, and they can all use them. But then there is also pirate necromancer cards, which are only for the pirate necromancer, Gravy Bones. So this is Man Overboard, attack action. When this attacks, you can discard an ally, and if you do, this gets +1 and go again. Gravy Bones likes to play his allies out of the graveyard because they're dead, and he's an undead pirate necromancer. So his whole play pattern is sort of built around having your allies in the graveyard, and then you play them from there onto the field. So this is a way to load your graveyard. Painful Premonition, that's a wizard card. Wizards do arcane damage, which you cannot block. You can only prevent it using stuff like Arcane Barrier or Spell Void effects. That's how they work magic damage into the game. So this is an action that does 1 to a damage. If it deals damage, you create a Sigil of Fate token. The Sigil tokens seem to be the new identity that they are maneuvering Wizards towards, as the original Wizard has finally rotated out of the game after 6 years. Rest in peace, Kano. Stadium Security, this is a revered action. This is from the previous newest set, Super Slam, where they added the specializations of revered and reviled, which is like face or heel in pro wrestling parlance. So this is a revered action where I guess you're just calling the Stadium Security. If it's in your arsenal, if you control a tough token, this gets ambushed, so you can block with it out of arsenal, which is interesting. A lot of the Flesh and Blood players I rely on to explain the use cases for some cards, because like this game is very fighting game. It's very based on matchups, and it's very much based on, in my case, hoping someone else tells me what a card does in more regular parlance. Look Within, this is a Mystic action. The Mystic heroes, all from the Mistveil set, they were all overpowered heroes who rotated out of the main format immediately, and they're all sort of finding their 2nd or 3rd life in Silver Age now, and the Mystic stuff is specifically for all of them. It lets them create or utilize cards that give them chi, which is like a second resource that they have access to. I'm just kind of narrating through what some of this stuff does, because I know that like a large number of the people who are watching this probably have no idea what Flesh and Blood is, and I'm the one who's like giddily like, hey, look at my game I like playing. Here's a rainbow foil, by the way. This still does the trading card thing where there's usually always 1 rainbow foil of any rarity. So this one is a common. This is Cloud Cover, a lightning card. There's 3 main elemental specializations. There's lightning, earth, and ice. And so there's an ice guardian, an ice wizard. There's a lightning wizard, a lightning rune blade. So this game is all about classes and specializations, and that's how they silo their cards. So this is one for the lightning characters. Next time you would be dealt damage this turn, prevent 1 of that damage. It's an instant. There are a lot of instants in the game, but there are characters who simply don't really interact with instants. But wizards love instants. They love doing damage to you on your turn. And this goes before that. All right. I kind of have a little sort of like organization method I'm doing for this stream. Usually, because I'm a freak, I just numerically organize, or I numerically and alphabetically organize all of my cards as I open them, because that's just how I open packs. But that would mean we would be here much longer than if I do it this way. Parabolic. Then there's Bravo, who got them all and was quickly banned. Yeah, Bravo, the original Guardian. Guardians are the sort of paladin class in a way. The idea with Guardians is that they weather a lot of hits, and they build up to swing a giant hit at you every 1 or 2 turns. And the original one, Bravo, was not all that great, and so they made a new Bravo called Star of the Show, known to many as Starvo. And he was Bravo who had access to all 3 elemental pools as well. And it turns out that made him excessively powerful, is my understanding. I was not playing the game when that character was around, but he left such a mark that I still hear a lot about the Starvo meta nightmare. And now he's, when a character in this game rotates, they go to the Living Legend format, where rotated characters live, and, there's way less restrictions. And apparently Starvo just runs a lot of that format, too. So, he's an annoying guy. Here's an ice action. A lot of the local Toronto players are, not a lot, but a number of them are former fans of the Ice Wizard Icelander, who is kind of having her second lifespan in Silver Age, as I understand it. So I've got a lot of, ancillary ice hype off of all the Icelander mains. Oh, thank you, Parabolic. Yeah, risk-reward, hate deck style. Fantasy is, you hit so hard, you cripple your opponent. Yeah, there's, crippling Crush. Crush is a big mechanic. You deal at least 4 damage with this attack. Another effect happens to the opponent. I never got to play OG Bravo that much, but I have a Silver Age Valda deck I really like. And my second Classic Constructed main right now is Pleiades. I'm hoping to finally get some of the generics I need for her out of this set coming out, but I pulled a Marvel Pleiades, and I already liked playing as her. Just trying to... I specifically trying to play aggro Pleiades, which is not the really popular Fatigue build, but I'll show you all later. She's very cool. And then Draconic, this is another specialization that has a couple characters behind it, like Phi back there. There's a Draconic Ninja and a Draconic Warrior, and they're part of a whole... There's a whole, sub-story across 2 of the sets, where the 2 Draconic characters had their Emperor assassinated by the assassin Arachne, and they're trying to chase down Arachne. And then there is the reveal that Arachne may not so much be an individual as it is an idea. Okay, so I got Burnished Bunker Plate. Someone at... when I went to pick up my 3 packs, there were 2 people who were opening their cases, which is a case of 4 booster boxes. And one of them pulled out a cold foil version of this. I actually have a cold foil of the card this is a sequel to, which is the Bunker Beard. It's a helmet that is like an armored beard you put on, and it kind of sucks, so I really like that I have, the highest level treatment of it, and I wanted to get the cold foil of this to go with it, because, this also is maybe not amazing. This is allowing you to circumvent the order of operations with your blocks, kind of, with 1 card, which I can see use cases for, but I have been assured the use cases that I'm seeing do not really exist in the wider game as it is. Yeah, the Bunker Beard. It's like a beard made of bunker that you put on as a helmet. There is a really funny card in here somewhere, which is a helmet made out of little shields to protect you better, and I'm hoping I find that one. So that's pack number 1. What are we looking for? We're looking for Majestics, where the rarity down here is a little red dot with an M in it, or... ideally, we're looking for Legendary, which is a little orange dot that I am not guaranteed to pull a Legendary out of this box, but it sure would be cool if I did. Chris Muse, the Bunker Beard at the highest rarity cold foil treatment is like $2. So it is within your means, even as not a player of this game, to have a nice shiny cold foil Bunker Beard. Alright, so this is all in order, right? Yep, okay. Quincketing Sand, Rangers. So Rangers are archers and trap wielders. Silver Age brings back the original Ranger, Azalea. She's one of my favorite Silver Age decks to play. She's incredibly powerful or not. Her whole thing is she wants to build up and launch one super buffed arrow at you that's laden with effects to deal like half your HP to you in one hit, which is not very easy to do. Do they still have Fabled Rarity? They do. This set, one of the big draws of Compendium, at least up front, is in the Antiquity packs. They are reprinting 3 of the Fableds, because one of the negatives of Flesh and Blood is they have Fabled Rarity, which is a higher rarity than Legendary. So like 1 in multiple cases. The problem is the Fableds are usually gems, and the problem is they're playable, because you pitch them and get an effect, and like at least 3 of them are incredibly powerful on the highest level of Flesh and Blood. If you're playing at the national or world level, those Fable gems can be make or break for your games. The thing is, most people aren't, so it's an issue, but I don't think it's an issue that prevents you from just playing this game locally. Yeah, there's usually only 1 Fable per set. The Antiquity packs seem to be their own collation outside of this set. So they put the middle slot of this is sometimes a Fabled, and there are, I think, 3 Fableds that it can be. Anyway, this is a trap. This is Quickening Sand. This gives you... Oh, this gives you a Quicken token, most likely. Okay. Become the Bottle. Oh, this is the other one. So there's Become the Cup and Become the Bottle. So Become the Cup, you can alter the color of this card. Become the Bottle. After this card attacks, you can choose a card on the combat chain, that is cards that are existing in the current turn's chain of combat, and you can change this card's name to that card, to one of those names. That's really important for characters like the ninja Katsu, who has cards that are like, if you've played card name before this one, you get a combo effect. So this lets you shore up some of those combo effects if perhaps, you know, you haven't got the right order of cards or you need it to appear again. Or if you, I think... No, this doesn't apply Draconic effect. Never mind. Still, I wanted to get both of these because I think that they're very cool ideas. This is for my main. My main is the original warrior, Dorinthia. This is Cut and Carve. This is a new mechanic, Sharpen, which lets you do the Dorinthia mechanic of putting +1 counters on a sword. Sharpen removes them at the end of the turn, and seems to be built around the new character coming out in her own deck in April, Hala, who is very much my aesthetic. But they are putting a bunch of Sharpen cards into this set as well, and I want them. I want the Sharpen cards. I want the warrior cards. There's a warrior defense thing called Blunton, which I want to use to make my opponents unhappy. Phoenix Bannerman, there's I think 3 of these. This is the Chest Bannerman. It's legendary, you can only have 1 in a deck. This is to tutor for Phoenix Flames and create a certain type of token. I think that the other 2 do the same thing but create different tokens. I don't know the Draconic characters that well, but I got the impression that this is something. Here's a new Reviled card, Bad Breath. This lets a reviled character do Intimidate. Intimidate's very fun. A lot of brutes do this. It's another class. Intimidate is your opponent randomly loses a card from their hand face down on the table for the duration of the turn. You generally block with cards out of your hand, so doing Intimidate to people makes them lose decision space if they have defense reactions. It makes them lose blocking cards to use to block your attacks. I have seen turns where someone just intimidates someone's entire hand onto the table and then swings at them for like 16 damage, and they're like, do you block? And then the person's just like, no, and get punched in the face extremely hard. I'm going to just reorder my specializations. I think that these ones I'm going to put here. These ones here, put the generics there. Okay. Another Pirate Necromancer card, Tentacular Toll. This is all about tentacles. Turn 2 allies in your graveyard face down, create gold tokens out of them. So you're basically like turning, instead of being able to summon and raise some of your crew out of the graveyard, you're feeding them to tentacles that gives you money. You know, as you do in life. Here's another Revered. This is for Revered Guardians. This is specifically for Pleiades. Energy of the Audience gives me... Oh, this gets +1 for every aura of suspense you control. I'm curious if I can get this to be usable as something. For at least the card effect. We got another Beneath... Oh, no, I didn't... This is another Pirate Necromancer card, so I've got 3 of them now. So here's my 3 Gravy Bones cards. So when this is defending, if it's put into a graveyard from the arena, turn it face down. Oh, that's Watery Grave. So this means Gravy Bones cares about what's in your graveyard, and a card that's turned face down in your graveyard can't be used for those effects for the most part. So this is... Oh, it's because it's a 5D react. That's why. Okay. Something that can block for 5, that's a big number to put in that spot on a card. So this is its balancing point, I'm guessing. And I've got Earth Equipment, a piece of arm equipment. There's head, chest, arms, legs as the 4 slots. So for the arms, we've got the Limbs of Lignum Vitae. This is Silver Age playable. If there's 4 or more Earth cards in your banished or exiled zone, this has +1 defense. So this can basically block once for 1 and then blow up. But if you have a bunch of Earth cards banished, which the Earth characters tend to do for reasons, this will block for 2 and then explode. So Flesh and Blood is all about how you start the game with a weapon and 4 pieces of usually instantly breakable equipment. And so they all have effects that are based on them exploding once. So in Flesh and Blood, the numbers are so tight that, like, it's kind of hard to learn at first, I found coming off of other games. Because in Flesh and Blood, a super powerful card is like, this can, over the course of the game, prevent 3 damage of your 40. And you might go like, and it's like, no, that is super powerful that you can prevent that much with this one card. And so it's part of the reason, one of the several reasons why I love this game, is that it's built around extremely small numbers being important. Submerge. This is just a pirate action, so any of the 4 pirate characters can use this. What is this? 0 for 5 attack. Blocks 3. As an additional cost to play this, put a card from your hand into your deck 5th from the top, which is interesting because most characters draw 4 cards at the end of your turn. So you are putting a card away for 2 turns, basically. Man Overboard, but in red. So here I can show you a Flesh and Blood thing. Everything comes in 3 colors. If some cards are only in 1 color, they're either in 1 color or 3 colors. And so there's red, yellow, and blue. Reds are being the strongest version, blues being the weakest version effect-wise and stat-wise. But the way you pay for cards is by pitching them from your hand and putting them on the bottom of your deck at the end of the turn. So red cards only pitch for 1 resource, but blues pitch for 3. That's why their effects are weaker. That's one of the core balancing points of the entire game that makes it the fun system that it is. Distant Rumbling. When this enters, draw a card, put a card from your hand into the 5th from... So this set is introducing a lot of this 5th from the top stuff, which I also find very interesting. This is built around Seismic Surge tokens, which is a big Guardian thing. It's a big Valda thing. That's the buff bar fight Guardian lady that got an adult version for the main format recently, last year. Yeah, pitching is one of the backbones of this game, because, like, when you pitch cards, when you put them on the bottom of your deck at the end of your turn, you also can put them on the... You choose the order in which they go on the bottom of your deck. So, ostensibly, there's a thing called pitch stacking, where you are handcrafting the second cycle of your deck, or the back half of the game. And some people are very good at doing that. I don't entirely understand how yet. My brain doesn't wrap around that science very well, but, like, as far as I think of it, I'm just like, did I pitch a blue or a red or a yellow, and I try to pitch something else, change the order so it's alternating between the colors. But there are people who will, like, there used to be Wizard players who would just specifically pitch stack, like, 10 to 20 cards or something, so that, like, when the second half of the game came around, if they were still alive, they would start knowing precisely what they're about to play. And then executing horrifying combos upon you with that power of knowledge. Put on Ice lets you freeze 3 allies. So they put in some anti-ally stuff in this set. Gravy Bones' pirate friends being one of the more, prominent ally types in the game. I got another Bad Breath. Is it a different color? It is. Bad Breath is another rainbow cards. There's a red Bad Breath. So this one will create 3 might tokens. The yellow one creates 2. One can assume the blue one creates 1. My first Mechanologist card from this set. Heavy Metal Hardcore. A lot of the Mechanologist cards, not all of them, but a lot of these are specifically to make the Mechanologist character Teklevossen playable. That is apparently one of the secondary design goals of Compendium of Rathe, is for Teklevossen to become not a bottom-tier meme deck, but actually be a functional deck. Not necessarily top tier, but, who knows what happens. But this is meant to enable... I think this is one of the ones... Yeah, this references Evos. It's meant to enable the Teklevossen character. Means if you're not playing Teklevossen, you probably have at least 1 or 2 closeted local area Teklevossen players upon whom you can foist all of your Teklevossen cards if you're opening Compendium of Rathe. There's another Chaos card. Descent into Madness. Banish a random card from the defending hero's hand, then they draw a card, and that's you doing an attack reaction. I really want to mess with the Chaos cards. They seem very fun. Another Lightning card. This is Ion Charged. There's some elemental only stuff in here too, though, where it just references elemental cards that apparently are quite interesting. There's another Teklo card. This is Embryo Base Walkers. So Teklevossen is this tech magnate who starts with a bunch of weak equipment, and he's trying to draw into better equipment to replace his current starter equipment, with the goal of eventually using the Steam-powered internet to download a demon into himself and ascend into Teklevossen the Necropotent. That's like his whole goal in a game. He wants to become the Singularity using his Steam-powered internet. As one does, Sports Peppers, correctly. Still no M's yet. Still looking for my M's, unless I didn't see one. That's another nice thing about Ultraman, by the way, just cycling back to that. Ultraman card game. There are no resources. Your resource is the amount of cards in your hand. That's it. What on earth is his lore? Oh, there's some cool stuff in this game. The Assassins, Arachne. I need to read some of that lore to better understand it, but like they first presented this character Arachne, the assassin, the huntsman. It's this masked assassin who then like reappears later on as Arachne, the Web of Deceit, where you play as Arachne, who's now like a little bit more spider themed. But then if you mark someone as an assassin and then hit them, Arachne then transforms into one of 6 other Arachnes randomly. And the other 6 Arachnes, they're all spider-themed, and, like, 2 of them are female, one of them is a spider made entirely out of swords. It's like this whole weird, like, cadre. And then there's a third Arachne called Slipped Through the Cracks, which is just a bunch of chaotic energy, a floating mask, and a floating sword. So there's Arachne's aesthetic is very much my thing. Another Submerge. I'm going to go a little bit more quickly now that I've described a lot of this stuff. Oh, by the way, Illusionists, they are another ally-based class, usually, where they try to, like, one of them tries to make angel illusion allies, another one tries to basically grow dragons, and then start hurling dragons at you. Is that the one that had numbers assigned to it? Oh, what was that in reference to? I was not paying enough attention. Yeah, there's the mechanologists are basically like there's like 2 main thoughts schools, as I understand it, in the lore. There's the Teklevossen technology, and then there's the other one. I forgot what the other one was called. Oh yeah, Arachne. It's actually Arachne with a K. Yeah, that's the numbered ones. There's like 6 demi-hero Arachnes that you randomly can transform into. Another Chaos card. I love by the way, I don't want to glaze over the artwork, because the artwork in this set, especially, I think is baller-ass good. Like, just, the Chaos cards have this great color palette and this really, like, thick, colorful line kind of, like, style. But then like the Guardian cards, very classical fantasy style. All the ice cards are just very environmental. The lightning ones as well, very pretty. You'll notice there's like a lot of different frames too. Apparently they were trying to get almost every frame they've ever had in the game to appear in this set in one form or another. Here's a Rune Blade card. Oh, it's the first M. I got Doomsaying, and it's in foil. Hell yeah. So Doomsaying, Rune Blades, they are the, you know, if you want to get a little cynical, Rune Blades are kind of the pushed class of the game. They are a mixture of physical and arcane damage, and for one reason or another, they often end up being some of the most powerful characters in the game. Famously, they invented a Lightning Rune Blade, who was supposed to be the new player onboarding character from learning decks up to, you know, armory decks, and her name's Aurora, and she rotated within a calendar year of appearing in the game because she was too powerful, and to the point where they apologized, and they were like, we will bring Aurora back so that all of her cards are usable again. But the goal with Aurora was to be a sort of easy character to play as to help onboard people, and it also meant it just ended up being she was like this aggro monster, apparently. And part of the reason she rotated so quickly is she didn't just do, you know, decently on top-level tournaments. She did really well on the lowest-level tournaments that would get her points for rotation. When a character in this game, in Classic Constructed, achieves over 1,000 Living Legend points, that's when they and their signature weapon both rotate out of the format into Living Legend. And so she accidentally, yeah, she was, as Sports Pepper says, she was the accidental hydrogen bomb. What was Doomsaying? This was Doom counters, destroy auras. I remember Doomsaying had a bunch of, like, Runeblade players Doomsaying that they weren't getting anything in the set, and that was, like, the joke that was going around for a bit. I can't remember, though. Wax and Wane, that's Mystic Illusionist. This is for the Mistveil Illusionist. Enigma, I believe. Where was I putting this? This goes here. Another M. All right, I got two M's. So two Majestics. This is the Majestic Wizard Legs equipment, Tempest Dancers. When this leaves the arena, you may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were instant. So it leaves the arena by blocking once. It has Blade Break, which is if you defend with it, when that chain closes, you destroy this. This blocks for 0, so basically you have to block once for nothing with this as part of your blocking cycle. And then when this leaves, you can then play your next non-attack action card as though it were an instant. Playing cards as though they're instants is kind of like one of the backbones of Wizard playstyle, as I understand it. I've never run a Wizard myself. I've only played against them. There's another Wizard equipment, Gloves of Erasure. This is Silver Age playable, the budget format. When this leaves the... This is another Blade Break 0. When this leaves the arena, destroy target aura token. So auras are personal token buffs that several characters now can generate. And they usually get destroyed at the start of your turn to give you something. So this means that, you know, you can make it so that if they've generated auras that turn, no, you didn't, that one goes away. Yeah, Wizard is no, our turn. But they are also operating... It's not like literally Magic the Gathering blue players, because often Wizards... I mean, there are some cards that can not so much... You know, they don't just say, I counterspell. It's more so that they are working up, they're trying to build the engine to, at some point during your turn, suddenly hit you for like 30 damage, is one of their goals, basically. I found it quite fun when I played against Kanos last year in some of my first months of the game. Also, the players were very kind, and they played with very good mechanics, and it was kind of like a roller coaster ride playing against Kano, where it's like, one of us is going to win in the next 10-15 minutes. We'll see who. It's very exciting. That's a Ranger one. Lighten the Load. This is another Pirate one. When this attacks, you can discard a card or destroy an item you control, and if you do, this gets Go Again. Go Again is also a very key mechanic to the game. Every turn, you have one action point, which lets you play a card or use an action that are not instants. Instants are the one cards that are like outside of that. If they say Go Again, they give you another action point. If they don't, your turn ends. So giving go again is like another big part of this game for several characters. Parabolic, the community is fantastic. They were super welcoming and chill when I played, at least in AZ. Yeah, the Flesh and Blood community globally has a very good and, as far as I can tell, well-earned reputation of being one of the most non-toxic player communities that there is in real life, which is fascinating because Flesh and Blood is considered by many to be one of, if not the best, sweatiest PvP 1v1 card games on the market right now. Like, this is a great way to describe Flesh and Blood that I always go to is it is a fighting game told through trading card games, a trading card game framework. So it is a very competitive, very sweaty game, but it is one where I have found most players have a lot of grace, and it's a game with a very tall skill ceiling. Like, when you start playing Flesh and Blood, it is so much like a fighting game that if you don't know your matchups, you probably will lose. And you have to find enjoyment in that, which I did for quite a while. Because, like, it's a game where you lose, and you don't lose and go like, well, damn, I suck. You lose and go like, okay, what happened? What can I learn from that? And there's still a lot of satisfaction I found to be taken from losing in Flesh and Blood. Because the mechanics are just so juicy, and the decision space is so dynamic from turn to turn. Yeah, it's super sweaty, likened it to League of Legends 1v1. I mean, in League of Legends, though, my understanding is more people will start screaming at you. But in Flesh and Blood, like, it's very rare that you find an opponent who just, like, big dogs you and then, like, farts on you and goes, like, anyway, see you later, loser, and, like, takes off. A lot of Flesh and Blood players have a lot of natural interest in discussing the game afterwards and offering advice and whatnot, or at least saying, like, this is why I decided this, this, and this. If you say, like, hey, did I do anything that you were confused by or that seemed like a wrong decision? Did I, can you tell me any blunders I made? Usually they're very happy and ready to explain, like, oh yeah, at this point, at this turn when I did this, you probably would have preferred to do this or this. So that is one reason why I love this game so much, is that it's, unlike my experiences with high-level local, not high-level, but, like, competitive local Magic Standard, it's more of a connection with the other player. One of the things I really like to say is, in Flesh and Blood, what I have found is you can't ignore the other player's turn. You simply can't, because of how combat works in this game. So you have to pay attention to what the other player's doing, even if you outclass them as a player by years of experience. You have to look at what they're doing and respond to what they're doing. Which I think adds something to this game. Same headspace has got me into Deadlock recently, where it's a lot of, I have tons of different areas, avenues to pursue improvement in, do differently next time. Yeah, like, I am actively, as much as I can, like, I found it kind of fun keeping, like, a player diary of my games for Flesh and Blood. Like, just writing down wins, losses, who did I play against, write a couple little bullet notes. Like, it's fun. Oh, I got another warrior card. This does more sharpened stuff. So I'm building my stocks for that. Draconic action, 4 feathers, 1 crown. Make sure you can see the artwork on this. So this one gives +1 for every Phoenix Bannerman card in your graveyard. So that was that one I showed you earlier. So once you've used those, you want to try to set up to, I guess, play this after. It's a 0 for 2. So if you have the 3 Phoenix Bannerman cards in your graveyard, then you play this as a 0 for 5, which I believe is pretty good rate. I'm still learning the rates in this game. Like, that's one of the jargons for Flesh and Blood that I have a lot of trouble with. In Flesh and Blood, someone can go, like, with full seriousness, unironically, someone might go like, oh yeah, that's a 0 for 3, it's pretty good, but, like, it lets you do a 2 for 8. And, like, another different card that's, like, still a 0 for 3 lets you do, like, a 2 for 10. You should do that one instead. And I will sit there just like, so I pitch 3 and swing my Dawn Blade for 3. So I'm still trying to learn some of that. Drag down. This is interesting. I think this is very much for Silver Age. This is a defense reaction that blocks for 0, but when it defends an attack, that attack gets -2 attack. Which mechanically I find fascinating, because that's basically blocking for 2, but without blocking for 2. Very specifically. My foil is Shimmering Spectre. Look at how they just foiled the Spectre on this half of the artwork. That's so pretty. Yeah, Parabolic as a Guardian. I hit with big hammer, discard hand. I make 8 seismic charges. I swing at you 18 for 0. I'm getting all the Mechanologist cards now. This is a new Mechanologist card for Silver Age, and for everybody. Dash, being the main one. This is the Teklo Trebuchet 2000. I know there's a rainbow of these, but this appears to be launching the character Trebuchet style. There's a Mechanologist in there who's about to get fired. When this attacks, the next attack you boost gets +2. Boosting is a thing Mechanologists do, where they just banish cards off the top of their deck to boost their aggro. And so a Mechanologist, if you can fatigue them, weather their attacks, and just survive numerically, you can try to outpace them milling their own deck into nothing, basically. Which can be interesting. Ooh, another M. And an M ice hat. Crown of Frozen Thoughts. I know one of the local Toronto players who loves ice pulled this and the cold foil version from the same, I think the same box, if not the same case. So this is Blade Break 2. This is not for Silver Age because it's an M. It's a Majestic. A new Majestic ice card is also a hint that Icelander is probably coming back. If not Icelander, someone ice is coming back this year into Classic Constructed. So when this defends, freeze the attacking hero till the start of the next turn. Abilities of the frozen hero can't be activated. That's brutality, and it's Blade Break 2, so that's not too bad. So it blocks for 2, and then says your hero ability doesn't exist for your next turn. And that can probably be incredibly painful for some heroes. I should put my M's in another pile over here, actually. Basalt Boots. If you control a Seismic Surge token, this gets +1, so it becomes a Temper 2. This is another cycle they've been doing for Silver Age, is all of these, conditional Temper 2 class equipments. Temper 2 is basically blocking for 3 over the course of the game, because it blocks for 2, gets a -1 token, blocks for 1, gets another token, and it gets destroyed. Temper 2 is, really big, apparently. Yeah, the pauper format's called Silver Age, or Sage. It launched with this set. And it is commons and rares and basics tokens only, so no Majestics, no Legendaries, no Fables. And it also has a bespoke ban list, so stuff like Sink Below is banned in Silver Age. So anything that would be a generic staple, for example, is banned. There's a Ranger Hood that makes Azalea way too powerful, so they banned that a couple months back. So it's like a curated pauper format. It's really fun, and they are going to be leaning into it as the other half of their competitive scene for the coming years. So they're advertising they launched 10 Silver Age Precon decks that each come with 1 pack of this as well, as Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. It's just 2 boxes with 5 different decks in each one. And their whole advertising slogan, for better and for worse, is these decks are, quote, your $20 ticket to $2 million prizing. But at least one of the decks, sadly, the deck of my main, Dorinthia, sucks. So it is not your $20 ticket to $2 million pricing. But a number of them are pretty good. Is that the Blitz replacement, kinda? Yeah. It's, because the thing they realized with Blitz is Blitz was presented as the budget beginner format, but Blitz still had all the expensive cards in it, which were balanced around a larger, longer format. So Blitz, my experience with Blitz was a common bad one several years ago, where I made a bunch of Blitz decks to learn the game with some friends, and the games were so swingy, I was okay with it, but all of my friends I tried playing with were like, I don't want to play this anymore. And once I got back into this game properly for the first time last year, I mentioned my experience to some of the Toronto Fab players who all basically said, oh yeah, that's pretty common, actually. People's experience with Blitz was very much either, what a great, fun lunchtime format, or, I just got OTK'd, this is stupid. And there was very little middle ground. is my understanding. So yeah, Silver Age is its full-on replacement. It's a really good budget format in my limited experience, because a good Silver Age deck still tops out at maybe $15-20 tops, and that's like, and then you can start blinging it even if you want to. But like, as far as just getting the cards, the only reason why some of them crest up to $20 is because Silver Age was kind of in a pre-release format up till this set came out. And so there were some very good cards for Silver Age that hadn't been printed for like a year, and it made stocks of them completely dry up. The Blade Beckoner equipment from Hunted, Red Arcane Polarity being the two main ones I can think of that just disappeared from the aftermarket when people were buying stuff for Silver Age. Originally known as Project Blue, in case you ever heard that name. Yeah, like Blitz is, I don't want to say like Blitz was terrible, because like, some people really, really love Blitz. I just, my own experience with Blitz was very much this is so swingy that this seems silly, and then like when you actually get to play Classic Constructed, it is so different from the experience of playing Blitz. Oh yeah, the Bravo Silver Age Precon is apparently one of the best ones too. Guardians are kind of good in Silver Age right now because they have these clash cards that let them weather a lot of hits really well, and just like they can fatigue in a 20 health format to some degree, which is pretty good for them. Bravo is a very good one. Phi is a very good one. That's why I picked them up. Viscerai is a very good one. I believe Icelander can be pretty good too. The two, as far as I understand, the two that are just kind of like cheeks is the Dorinthia deck, and the Dash deck apparently is not very good. And the Arachne Assassin deck apparently is like, falls into a pattern that apparently is kind of common for the Arachne Precons in general, which is like trying to make it part Assassin, part Chaos. And Chaos still is not like an easy fit together with a basic generic Assassin playstyle, so it can be weird to play. So I would say like Dorinthia, Dash, and Arachne. Maybe don't pick those up if you're brand new to the game. But Phi, Bravo, KO, Icelander if you want to get a little bit complicated. There's still like a good like 4 or 5 of them that are like dead ass solid. And a 50% hit rate for precons being good, that ain't bad when there's 10 in the field that we occupy. There's some excessive blood loss, by the way, for some assassin action. That's the blood being lost. Sigil of... Oh, this is that tokens. This is the new token that wizard cards tend to make. It's a token when it leaves the arena, so you destroy it at the start of your action phase. So you make it on your turn, and at your start of your next turn, you destroy it, and then you opt one, which is you look at the top card of your deck, and you can choose to put it on the bottom of your deck. So I should put this somewhere... I'll just put it with the wizard cards for now. Here's a brute card. Bear Hug. It's Tough Nut, the revered brute from Super Slam, hugging a tree and breaking it. So this is a 2-cost card that swings for 7, and you can only play this if you've pitched a card with 6 or more attack this turn. So if you're running, the KO who makes all the cards have 6 attack, then this is an easy fit for that. Tough Nut, you probably would just have cards like that. Tough Nut, unfortunately, as I understand it, is just not very good right now. But he is the character who is the signature character who uses the weapon Rock, which is a very large rock with a smiley face on it. So, he's got something going on. There's my guy Bolton, the Light Warrior. That's going to be my Cope arc this year. Bolton keeps getting cards, which keep looking good, and then, remains not all that great, but I got a really heavily discounted Bolton Armory deck last year, so I want to do the Bolton Cope arc. So light characters, that's Bolton and Prism, the Light Illusionist, they have this whole concept of putting cards into your soul. When I tried to get into Flesh and Blood, they had just launched the Monarch Blitz decks, and one of my favorite anecdotes when we were trying to make the Blitz decks I built and those Monarch decks work, is we were like, let's just play these precons, and I tried playing Bolton, and I sat there and I asked a question of my friend across the table, which in isolation is one of my favorite moments as a gamer, as I looked at my friend and I said, what is a soul? And, like, what an existential question to ask your friend, right? Because there was no documentation about that mechanic in the deck, and so I was like, I actually don't know what this mechanic is. Oh, we've seen this before, Stadium Security. My foil is Energy of the Audience. That's the Pleiades card. Got more of the Tekla-Vossen cards, the Evo Beta base legs. I want to try running Tekla-Vossen. I'm just afraid that, like, everyone does, and so all his cards are getting expensive. Got another Majestic. This is Glyph Destruction Nodes. So this wizard card, being Majestic, right? This is feeling like a hint of who the next Classic Constructed Wizard is going to be, because Kano, the original generic wizard, finally rotated recently. And so it's looking like Blaze, who was originally a Blitz exclusive character, might be taking his place. And this is another Tekla-Vossen card. I gotta put all this aside eventually. I was gonna get my other M's out, so I got them all in a pile that I can look at later. TCG has you opening the doors of guff. And Parabolic, yeah, I tried to start playing during Monarch, and then between my Blitz experience and then I built a Dorinthia deck, like, I'd say 60% of a Dorinthia deck for Classic Constructed, and when I finally had worked up the courage to go try playing, the place nearest to me stopped having Flesh and Blood Knights, and so I just assumed, like, well, I guess the game ended. And then, like, Bright Lights came out, and I noticed it, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll buy some Bright Lights. I like Mechanologists, but no one I knew wanted to play it. And then it was... I went to a Commander Night at a local place, and they had the Gravy Bones Armory deck, and I was like, that looks cool, I'll just buy that. And then when I did, they told me, like, oh, hey, the Toronto community is pretty friendly, you should come out on Monday night. And I was like, all right. And then, won over on the spot. Granted, I was won over partly because I was running Dorinthia, and there was only one other person in the room at the time playing Dorinthia, who is, like, one of the Toronto Dorinthia mains, who was my first game of Flesh and Blood I ever played in Classic Constructed. It was a Dorinthia mirror against an experienced Dorinthia player, so it was like less of a game and more like someone walking me through my potential future, and it was a really cool experience. Okay, yeah, you had a big scene too. I mean, I'm in Toronto, so, like, we just have a big gamer scene in general. I'm very spoiled by it. But also, I don't know if you go to take a look at who is currently running some of the top tournaments in Flesh and Blood on the international level, tends to be Toronto-based Canadians. It's our game. Oh, this, by the way, that's Florian. He just Living Legended. So it's very funny that he's on a card in here. There's Jarl. It's a guy I want to play. Jarl is the first hero they did where he released as a deck with a bunch of his card pool in it. He's the current main, like, Fatigue Guardian everyone plays. He's an Ice Guardian. He wants to make the game go long and then beat you just very slowly with a sledgehammer while freezing your equipment. Shadow. There's a lot of... in case you were around for Monarch, if you remember Levia... or if you remember Vinset, Levia especially is getting a lot of tools in this set, and I would like to play Classic Constructed Levia sometime because her aesthetic kicks ass. Mystic Assassin. Oh, this is for new. This is the Assassin deck I made for Sage before this stuff came out. This is the Mystic Assassin from Mistvale. I wonder if this is any good. Where did I put my... Wait, I got this. My foil was Blue Serpent's Kiss, and then one of my rares is Blue Serpent's Kiss. Where did I put the Mystic stuff? Was it in here? It wasn't here. Okay. Yeah, New's whole vibe is like geisha assassin type stuff. Hey, Magic players. So this guy here is Terra. Terra is a character who is exclusive to one of the first Strike. They made two of them. The other one was Aurora, the rotated Runeblade. Terra and Aurora are the two first Strike decks, which are meant to kind of teach the game. Terra apparently is pretty good as a Guardian in Silver Age. an Earth Guardian. So this is a Terra oriented card. But also it's called Doubling Season, which is very funny. And Voltaic Vanguard, the Lightning Hat. Let's see. 0 defense, instant, destroy this, prevent the next 2 damage we dealt to you this turn, activate only if you played an instant card this turn. So this is kind of a Lightning Wizard card, actually, I think, but who knows? It's just Lightning. It's got a good name, Voltaic Vanguard. Sorry, Voltic Vanguard. It actually has even better mouthfeel. So we're hitting some M's, that's good. Not hitting any L's, unfortunately. But who knows what could happen. Excessive blood loss again. Keeps happening to me. Future Sight, I love this artwork. It's a wizard card where you create 2 of those opt tokens, but also like the hand of the cosmos is just poking her in the forehead and going boop. And then her eyes turn blue. I feel like they do that sometimes, just make your TCG player searches take an extra step. Yeah, I noticed a lot of, every now and then, a very shared name coming up. Manifest Muscle. I saw this in the previews, and I love this artwork. So this is the Mystic character's Manifesting Muscle. So if you've created a card this turn, this gets +1 attack. So it's a 3 for 6 if you've made a Chi card. I'm assuming is the most likely one. That's like the idea that, like, you know, amidst the power of your inner strength, the manipulation of your spiritual energy, you also just manifest some muscle and blow a friggin' vase up. Laden with Earth. This is an elemental action, so I believe that this just goes with anyone who is tagged to use Ice, Lightning, or Earth. They have elemental in that tag, so they can just use these elemental cards. Hulk Up! Revered, so I can use this with Tough Nut or Pleiades. If you have less health than each other hero, this is 1 less to play, so it's a 3 for 8. Each other, so some of the cards in this, cutely enough, reference Ultimate Pit Fight, the 4-player format for Flesh and Blood, that apparently is very fun, but like almost nobody plays, because it is, in the context of Flesh and Blood, Ultimate Pit Fight is about as silly as Commander. The problem is, most people drawn to Flesh and Blood have very little interest in playing Commander-style formats, because they want to play sweaty 1v1 competitive. That is sort of the draw of the game. So the shame is, all reports I've heard from people is Ultimate Pit Fight, UPF, it's very fun. It's just hard to get anyone to want to play it. That's one of my goals, is to like try to get more friends into Flesh and Blood, and also get them into UPF so I can try playing it more. That's Revered, that goes here. Rip off the top, that's a Brute card. Oh, Long was here, thank you. Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity is on Cat Site fan subbed. I saw the Henshin sequence because that went up on Blue Sky. But yeah, that aired. So if you want to watch that, it is up. I might take a look once a few episodes are out. Blessing of Timus. And the Volcanic Vice. That's not the one I want! I want the chess piece. It goes well with Pleiades. But this is if you've created a Seismic Surge this turn, this gets Spell Void 3, which is still kind of baller. So if you make a Seismic Surge this turn, this gets the ability to be destroyed to prevent 3 arcane damage. There's also Arcane Barrier, where you pitch to prevent that damage. Spell Void is something you can stack on top of that to, like, not get OTK'd by a wizard. You know, as tends to happen to us in life. Another Man Overboard. Another Distant Rumbling. Spellbane Trap. Overcharge. More Lightning. Leven Sheath. More Elemental. I wonder if that's going to be a character. That's the fun thing. It was mentioned earlier, but one of the fun things about Flesh and Blood artwork, if you don't recognize the featured character in a piece of artwork, and they seem to be featured in a way that makes them look like they matter, there's always this chance they could just become a playable character later on. Another Foil Shimmering Spectre. Glyph power spell. I'm guessing we're making a spell of power using glyphs. This is a 2-cost, 4 arcane damage to any target, but if you control a card with sigil in its name, it does 6 arcane damage instead. The 2 for 6 seems fine. Channel. Oh, another M. Channel the Skybreaker. This is a majestic for the Earth heroes. They definitely need more power, don't they? None of you probably are. Earth heroes have been, like, just running corners of the top meta since I started playing. I keep seeing these cards with giant tree pictures on them and going like, oh, something bad's gonna happen to me. And Mournful Casket. This is for necromancers. So there is the hope / speculation that someday they might have a generic necromancer or a shadow necromancer in the next 12 months, and this would go with that character as well. But this is the necromancer temper 2. Again, this is mostly, I think, for Silver Age, just giving every class their own temper 2 chest piece that's conditional. Oh yeah, the Emperor. Yeah, the Emperor is like tutor for Command and Conquer. By the way, that's another one of my hopes. This set is reprinting all the big-name generic staples that I don't have, and so I'm hopeful that it drives their prices down a bit, because so far, reprinting stuff at Legendary still seems to have really impactful aftermarket effects on cards that are becoming hard to find for a decent price that are very good. Big one being something like Codex of Frailty. That was a 3-of card that for Assassins and Rangers, and for a while it was apparently like, you know, like $100 a copy. They reprinted it at Legendary once, and then its price went like straight down to $45 a copy. Still isn't cheap, but like that is cheaper. So I'm hoping that this is the season in which I can finally get my Fyendal Spring Tunic, my Command and Conquers, my Enlightened Strikes, my Shelter from the Storms, all of which are reprinted in this set, by the way. Not in a way where I expect I will actually pull any of them, but the fact they exist is the important part. Lighten the load. Quickening Sand. I see the word knife. I assume it's Assassins. That is. It's knife through. Also, they got reprinted with new artwork, so they finally updated the Spring Tunic artwork for those of you who mentioned you've played Flesh and Blood before. It's still the same image for the most part. It's just drawn again. So it's still Fyendal dancing, but they just drew it a different way. I wish I had a white border Spring. So this, I have a real hang-up about Spring Tunic, because when I decided, oh, I guess I'm not playing Flesh and Blood, a $90 Spring Tunic was sitting on eBay for months, and I kept going like, oh, maybe I should pick it. No, if I play Flesh and Blood, it's going to be with friends. I can just proxy it, whatever. And then it went away, and I didn't think about it. Then I got back into the game, and Spring Tunic is, you know, at the cheapest I've seen it, $135, and I'm like, I could have had one for under $100. And so that's become my goal, is I'm like, I will only pay double-digit price for Fyendal Spring Tunic, especially because I got a Crown of Providence for $50. There's a new Crown of Providence artwork in this too, by the way, for those who know about Crown of Providence. Foil will become the bottle. I got Haboob! So this is a Draconic Illusionist card. Oh, Seth, what's up? I'm holding it this long so I can, like, make sure that people know that these are mine. I really get myself into them. Oh, Cold Foil, hello. So I just opened Mournful Casket. Oh, here's the other Necromancer thing, Reach Beyond the Grave. You can kind of see a continuous picture if you pretend. Anyway, I'll show you the treatments next to each other. Where'd that Mournful Casket go? The cold foil rate in Compendium of Rathe is apparently seemingly pretty high, which is nice, because cold foil treatment is a really nice treatment. So there's the cold foil and there's the normal one. These are side by side. Might as well put them in my mouth. It is cold to the touch if you chill it first. Now, I should probably say, I do have sleeves nearby if I do pull anything really, really, really fancy, so don't worry about it. We're all... so we got aggressive pounce. This is new artwork we haven't seen yet. I gotta make sure I'm showing that stuff off. The artwork in this set is so baller. Another knife through. Ooh, this is the new Max card. They really want to make Max playable too, because the mechanologists have been suffering. Max, meme character, Tech Levosin, meme character. Like they are trying to pump them all up. There's like a wrench oriented card in here. Not because this says Heart Wrencher, but there's like another card that like cares about wrenches. No, this is it. Look, yeah, there's a card that cares about wrenches, and look, this one is specifically a wrench attack. So Max has a wrench as his signature weapon, and so wrench pump cards are like, okay, so they pump Max's one weapon that is not very good, but now this can also pump this one, so you have 2 wrenches. 2. We got the Oath of Oak. Telling the tree what you're going to do. Some more bad breath. Rainbow foil submerge. Ooh, this is a cool one. So this is I've seen this Colors of Aria. When this is face up in any zone, it's Earth, Ice, and Lightning for the various elemental effects that care about that. Right, and yeah, the Silver Age being like a good competitive format that also is only commons and rares, like it's been going pretty well so far. Yeah, oh, Parabolic. The Bard gets a new card in this set. They made 1 new Bard card. So, hey. More Tech Levosin. Oh, okay. This is one of my new favorite card names. This is a new pair of wizard shoes. The Aetherstorm Wellingtons. It's so silly. But one thing I did also find, I've been meaning to, I'm going to start writing it down to do a talkie video about it, because I wanted to talk about my experience playing my first, like, season or 2 of Flesh and Blood. One thing that I found that was, at least for me, that I found very interesting is, like, the generic legendaries, like, they are expensive cards that you kind of need for higher level play. Even in Armory level, eventually, you start missing them. I feel that Classic Constructed is still a very playable game for your first month or 2 without them, because I feel as a player you can't appreciate what they are doing to be that expensive outside of their rarity until you've played without them long enough to start going like, wait a second, like I would like to be able to block for 2 and sink a card from arsenal or hand once in the game. So like it's a one-time effect, consumable, but like it took me a couple of several weeks of playing to fully understand like the advantage of that, and thus why Crown of Providence is so prevalent. Try welly-wanging with these bad boys. We are gonna become the cup. And when you become the cup, you are protected against a hard welly-wangin'. Spreading Mist, as the Mystic Mistveil folks do. Yeah, like, easy example. I really want to play more Pleiades, but I have run into a bit of a wall with my Pleiades aggro builds because I don't have Spring Tunic, so I don't have the 3-turn build for 1 free resource available that does crack open an aggro guardian like her. The extra resource cracks open, like, easy example, Pummel. Immediately available to you again, because it's a 2 cost, but now all your reds potentially can pay a pummel, right? Got the red drag down, so that's the 3 pseudo block. I love the idea of this. This is a really neat idea. Now, block for 0, but make the attack this is defending against have -3. Another foil overcharge. I see this one a lot. I love the foiling on this one because it's just the lightning. Clear water elixir. I have one of these from those 3 boosters I opened the other day. So it's an item that gives you +3, but importantly, if you drink this, you destroy a blood rot pox and gain a life, which I think is pretty funny. Ooh, it's one of the Levia cards. Apparently this is really good. Yellow, 0, blocks for 4, defense reaction. If it's put into your graveyard from anywhere, banish it. So it banishes, it becomes part of the blood debt mechanic. And Illusionist Silken Symphony. This is interesting because it's an arm equipment that gives you ward... Oh, you have to destroy this for the ward 1. Never mind. Yeah. A Guardian playing a red card that isn't exclusively red. Oh, you should... so this wasn't... This actually was exclusively not a red card at first, but the Pleiades Armory deck added red Boulder Drop, which is like one of the premier Guardian attacks now. The rate on it is so good, the effect is so good, and for a while, you could only get 3 copies of it by buying the Pleiades Armory deck. But then they put it into Gem Pack 3 as a foil. I think it's in the Bravo, like 2 copies of it, I think, are in the Bravo Precon Silver Age deck. I need to double check that, but I think they reprinted it there too. We got a Fasting Carcass. Another Phoenix Bannerman. I think the chest is the one I got last time, too. But now I got a foil one. And it's legendary. I can only have 1 in a deck, so now I can chuck the non-foil one at somebody. Just use my foil one. Break open the chests. Turn all cards in all arsenals face up. If there's a face-up yellow card in any arsenal, create 2 gold tokens. Pirates love their gold. Oh! I love this artwork, Lobotomy. My understanding of the lore is that that doctor is the creator of the Arachne, whoever they all are. There is a playmat of this artwork, and I want it so bad. Because, like, this artwork is so good as, like, playmat artwork. Like, there's an Arachne basically, like, you know, head in hands, like this, sitting inside of an infected brain with their creator staring at them as a giant head. And, like, the playmat just, like, you know, expands this out a bit to either side. So you have your 2, you know, more void-like areas for your cards to live in. And then this artwork in the middle. And it looks so good. I love this artwork. And Smoldering Scales, the Draconic Chest. If you would create Frostbite tokens under your... Oh, okay, so if someone tries to freeze you, this very specifically gets pumped. Or no, this gets destroyed. So if someone tries to give you Frostbite, you blow this up and don't get Frostbite once. Okay. That seems very specific to if Icelander takes over the Silver Age meta. Spellbane Trap, become the bottle yet again. Another display of craftsmanship, thank goodness. More overcharge. Stormwind Sheath, elemental defense reaction, lightning bond. So if you pitch a lightning card to play this, you get an effect. Cloud cover, lightning instant, but now it's shiny. Strike twice. Lightning Wizard. So this is for the robot. Deal 3 arcane to any target. If you've dealt arcane damage to an opposing hero this turn, you may play this as though it were an instant. The Runeblade Sigil of Sylphidae. And, oh, this is funny. Okay, so if you've played Flesh and Blood, you know the Null Rune equipment. They made brute legs and a guardian helmet that are just Null Rune boots and Null Rune cap, except that they're class siloed. And nobody knows if this is just a gimmick, like, funny gag, or if this is to pre-program for some kind of future mechanic that, like, wants you to not use generics or something. But yeah, this is just Null Rune boots, but for brutes only, and there's a hat for Guardians only. The Null Rune hat for Guardians only did make Guardian players sad, because Guardian in Classic Constructed has been in a very bad place meta-wise for like over a year. Because I think, well, not I think, the theory is that Legend Story Studios is afraid of creating another Starvo, so instead they're making the Guardians like severely underpowered. That's it, you can still beat someone with a Guardian, it's just harder. I love this palette. Pouncing aggressively. Hulking up! I've got some Billowing Mist. Foil Bad Breath. I love the reviled card art in general for the whole Silo set, so whenever I get foil reviled cards, I get excited. Emboldened by the Crowds, a revered defense action. If you've been cheered, this is free. Then it's a 0D6D react. I think that could be fun. Cold Foil again. Got some Cold Foil Teklevossen bits. I know there's at least one player in Toronto who wants top bling Teklevossen parts. Oh, I wanted this for Dorinthia. So the Warriors for Silver Age get the Unity set, and they all do the same thing. They're all Temper 1. When this defends with a card from hand, it's +1. So Warriors in Silver Age can run 4 Temper 2 equipments and basically have 12 damage soak in their fridge of equipment. The bummer is that this set means that currently Warriors in Silver Age are all just like fake Guardians running Decimator Great Axe, which is a shame, and I'm hoping that there's a way to break out of that. But I also really want the Unity equipment because it's good. Yeah, the Cold Foil rate in Compendium I think is just higher because they want to give you more bling for Silver Age. There are also, the Marvels in this set are primarily young heroes. I think it's like 12 or something of them. One of them is the character they actually have pre-banned for the first season of Silver Age, which is Chain. I'll explain how Silver Age banning is going to work. Every season, at the end of the season, there will be a player vote to ban, I don't know if there's a set number, but let's say 3 as a hypothetical. The concept is at the end of each season, the Silver Age format ban, instead of being Living Legend points rotation, it'll be player voting to vote out heroes for the next season. And if a hero is voted out, they sit out for a number of seasons equal to the number of times they've been voted out. So the first time they're voted out, they sit out 1 season, but then they are guaranteed to be playable the season after they sit out. If they get voted out twice, they sit out for 2 seasons, but then they will come back in 3 seasons, and so on. So, for Silver Age's first season, LSS decided to just vote out Chain, the Shadow Runeblade. And they had a whole designer diary I haven't yet watched on YouTube about it, but the kind of acknowledgement is that, like, Chain is one of their biggest mistakes, basically. Like, he is simply too powerful. What's up, Delta? Yeah, we shred in boxes. We're in the Weeping Battleground. I'm trying to show off a lot of the artwork of this set, because the art for this Compendium of Rathe set of Flesh and Blood is just, like, banger in general. Another Tentacular Toll for the Pirate Necromancers. Another Heart Wrencher, so I can finally run Max. Another one of this one, Conquer the Icy Terrain. What did I do here? I put a Runeblade one in the wrong pile. Soulbond Belief. Hopefully this works for my Bolton Cope arc. Mistborn Protector. That's my foil for this pack. Someone who pulled a cold foil Duskblade. Oh, my condolences. Or like what? Half the Runeblade weapons, right? Briar's weapon that was like broken and errated and then banned. Frost Spike. Create a Frostbite token in an exposed zone. So someone breaks their equipment for the effect, you're like, that's cool, have a Frostbite token. Get cold. More Teklavossin. And here it is. Here's the Guardian-only Null Rune Hood, Enclosed Fire Mind. It's just Null Rune Hood, but only for Guardians. Like, it's cool artwork. But my theory I'm running with is that the Fire Mind set is coming. You just wait until the Fire Mind Fortress comes out. The chess piece, like if you have Enclosed Fire Mind on, this gets plus 100 defense. It's coming. It's coming. We're I meant to put I meant to put my cold foils. Oh no, this is just generics. But I started putting other generics in here again. So I didn't follow my rules. These generics should be going over there. What I'm doing is I'm having a sorting method, so I'm not just directly exposing you all to me very slowly sorting potentially, you know, through how big is this set again? There's like at least 332 different cards I could be trying to sort. So I'm sparing you all that, and I'm going to do that on my own time. And I also agree. Flavor is a great reason to print. Like, why not give, like, you know, it's kind of silly mechanically speaking, but yeah, Guardians can't all walk around in cloth hoods. What if they want to walk around in a literally on fire helmet? Like, sometimes, you know, you just want a nice warm hat. That's some pirate stuff, by the way. The power of make-believe for the illusionists. The Firemind set comes together to make a giant volcanic hammer that does 100 damage and has 5 crush effects. Exactly. Exactly. People just got to think ahead. Ooh, red display of craftsmanship. Hello. 2 cost plus 4. Hurts. If it's been sharpened, you add a +1 counter, so it's essentially a red blocks for 3, 2 cost plus 5, which, admittedly, not what I would probably want to spend resources on. Warriors are also in a position where, like, well, Dorinthia is in a position where she's always about to get good. She is my favorite, but also she, the way it's been described to me, and I've come to agree with this, Dorinthia plays the game, Warriors play the game very fair. And that, unfortunately, does set them behind a lot in this game. Go Guardian Block of Valahai Riven in foil. So it's a yellow block 3. When this defends, you may pay up to 3, create that many Seismic Surge tokens. That's pretty cool. That means you get to defend and then just preload resources as Seismic Surges if you need, like, something that has a Seismic Surge effect. Or if you think you're about to get, like, I don't know, maybe a second Intimidate or something. You can just empty your hand out. The sequel to Valahai Mist. I understood that. Another warrior action. Rend Flesh. 0 cost. Whenever a sword you control hits a hero, you may remove a counter from it. If they do, they lose 2 health. Yeah, this is... I find this interesting, because they are pivoting warriors. They're democratizing Dorinthia's Dawnblade effect, but making it so the counters just go away at the end of the turn, but now you have more ways to layer them on. And I think it's neat they're adding in a payoff for removing one of them after you've, you know, hit with it. Mist Hunter. This is an assassin card that is specifically hate for Mystic Heroes. Specifically, if this hits a Mystic Hero, search their deck for any number of Inner Chi cards and banish them. So they just will turn off a Mystic Hero with this card. That's very funny. Concealed Sedative. So this is a ranger thing. You can be equipped face down. This creates an inertia token. Still loving the rip feel. Painful premonition. I see purple blocks and it hurts. More power of make-believe. A Phoenix Flame. I have 2 of these from the Precon deck that I got. Hyperinflation, a Chaos card. This is great. Look at this artwork. This rules. Let's see. 0 cost 2 attack. When this attacks, cards cost 1 more to play this turn. Affects all heroes. Yeah. So you attack with this, all your cards cost more, but all of your opponent's defense, reactions, and instants cost more as well. Potentially very funny. There's a bit of flavor text here. We shall inoculate the world against the disease of complacency, from the doctrine of l'Apocalypta. The card's name is Hyperinflation. Big and round. Foil display of craftsmanship. Hello. Sowing Thorns. There is the Earth Wizard, who was my bane for the back half of last year. Other M, got a Mystic Instance. This is for classic Constructed Mystic. Whispering Mist, until the end of turn, blue attacks and attacks with Ephemeral get +1. And the Graven Vestment for Assassins, an Assassin Shirt. Blade Break 2, if it's in your graveyard, you can... Oh yeah, this is the one, you can destroy 2 silver to pull this back out of your graveyard and use it again with a -1 counter. So this is a recurable piece of armor for assassins, which seems like it could be pretty dang cool. How many packs are we at here? I'm gonna pull packs out and then replace my recycling into the box so that we can do the final stack here. Yeah, what's the other kind of inflation? Is there another kind of inflation? What? I like my economy to be big and round and fair. Alright, we have 6 packs remaining. Do I get an L? Unlikely, because that's just math. But we know that. We came into this with a heart full of gamble. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering what I'm playing in Silver Age, or what I've been doing for Silver Age, I currently have 16 Silver Age decks. So as far as using these cards, I got a place for just anything that's not in this pile. I probably have a place for if the card is playable. So I'm going to be fine. Why do I have 15 or 16 Silver Age decks, you might say? Because some of them are like $10 to put together from nothing, and I had some chaff that was not, you know, that was part of what would have been the nothing. And so I didn't even have to put them together from nothing. I just find it fun to do that. When I built pauper decks way back in the day, I liked buying pauper decks just because it was satisfying to put a deck together for like $40-50 and then put it in its case and go like, part of the library. We're cutting and carving, by the way. More Tech Levosin. Another Shimmering Spectre, and yet another Overcharge. I think this is the second Frosthaven Sheath. Our foil is Fasting Carcass. Chorus of Rotwood. There's Florian from the Rotwood. He is just recently rotated out. Again, very funny. Assembly Module. This is a Crank Mechanologist item that lets you search for a hyperdriver. I think this is supposed to be part of the max hyperdriver economy that I'm told is not great and it keeps getting built upon, but I have not had hands-on time with it. And this is the Silver Age Brute Chest, Predatory Plating. It's a 2 defense Guardwell, so it stays in play after you've defended with it twice. I think. Oh no, just once. Once for 2, and then it gets 2 -1 counters. And then you can instant destroy this to gain a resource only if you control a card with 6 or more attack. They jailed the hot emo gardener boy. He did it to himself. He was an earth rune blade. He was a talent rune blade. They always do it to themselves, except for Vincent the Iron Maiden, because she's honest. She's a hard worker. Love formats can make use of underutilized cards. Yeah, that's Silver Age to a T. I mean, part of the reason why that's Silver Age is because the ban list encompasses a lot of strictly better cards in common and rare rarity, and I love that. Like, it sucks if you were only playing Silver Age, you bought an old pack and say, oh, I pulled a red Sink Below, and you can't use that in Silver Age, but it's red Sink Below. Sell it to a constructed player, a classic constructed player. We all want red Sink Belows, trust me. But if Sink Below was in Silver Age, then this wouldn't be a 40-card deck format. This would be a 38-card deck format where every single deck has 2 red Sink Belows. So that is a case where I'm like, no, that is a perfect ban for this format. That means that we're actually choosing 40 cards, not 38 cards. Hypothetically speaking, there's gonna be frameworks that probably are in every deck depending on the class, but 2 red Sink Belows would be in literally every deck in this format. Mark my words, if that card was legal. And yeah, 1 card could pay for your deck and then some. You pull some good M's, and if you don't intend to play Classic Constructed, you sell all of these and then get another couple Silver Age decks. Or bling out your favorite Silver Age deck. Like, say you've put together, like, even a $15 Silver Age deck. Now you can just go track down cold foil treatments of all the cards, rainbow foils, whatever. Be bonkers and track down promo variants if you're using any of them. If you have Snatch. Is Snatch in Silver Age? I can't remember. But, the anything that has, like, a full extended art promo that's like $100. It's like, I'm gonna make my Silver Age deck cost as much as a Classic Constructed deck. Because it's my choice. We're gonna look within when we say stuff like that. Foil Heart Wrencher. Ooh, this is a Rathe card, the Reviled Guardian. I really want to play him. He looks so fun. Walk in my shoes. You might notice Rathe is tiny. So Rathe is the dwarf brother of the Goldmane family. He's the Reviled Guardian. He is the first Intelligence 5 hero in the game. So aside from 2 heroes, Intelligence is always 4 in this game, because that's how many cards you draw in your opening hand and at the end of every turn. Super Slam added Tough Nut, who's Intelligence 3, and Rathe, who's Intelligence 5. So he has a bigger base hand size, and the way that that's balanced is he also has an inherent effect where all attack and defense values on cards he plays are halved, rounding up. But that's not as bad as it sounds, because that basically means that anything that's a 3 is a 2. And 3 is a very common number in Flesh and Blood. So 2s become 1s, 1s are still 1s, and 3s become 2s. It's more of a -1 in a lot of cases. Treasoner, it's so funny hearing $15 deck here and with the new Riftbound set. It's so nice I only have 3 $50 cards here. I mean, the main Flesh and Blood format is one where it's like, yeah, my deck is like, $50, except for 6 cards that make it $1,500. And not mine, unfortunately, but, a very common thing on the world competitive level. When you see a Flesh and Blood deck that costs 4 figures, that is usually because of maybe 4 to 7 cards out of the 80. Anyway, Walk in My Shoes has a crush effect that makes people walk in lie-ass shoes. It makes all their stuff halved. Oh, so the one other reason why I've been enjoying characters like Dorinthia and etc. There are now characters in Classic Constructed where you do want 3 CNC eventually in your card pool, but there are a lot more characters, at least in my experience, that don't rely on triple Command and Conquer. By the way, there is a new artwork for Command and Conquer in this set, because you know how it was originally guy in a chair, and then it was a soldier doing this with 2 swords, and then it was the really fancy one that was a big shield. The new Command and Conquer is now 2 gods in the cosmos, so they're escalating who is doing the commanding and conquering every single time. Another M, Sense Weakness. This is Jarl Vittradi sensing weakness and being a horror slasher character. All these poor kobolds or whatever are just like, don't see us, don't eat us. Oh, this is nice. This is the pirate chest. I want to try this on Scurv. This is a Blade Break 1. When this defends, you may pitch a blue card from your graveyard. So not only gain 3 resources off a discarded card, but if you pitch it, it goes back in your deck, so you're getting 1 card back in your deck out of graveyard. I think this is really cool. I want to know if that has a place with Scurv, because I love playing Scurv. We're not seeing the legendaries. We're not seeing the legendaries, but we're getting a good core of cards here. It's going to be some good trading in my immediate future. Especially with the Tekla-Vossen players. Holy moly. We got some more hyperinflation. Another fasting carcass. We got an Oath of Oak, but in foil. Enjoying that the foil is focused on the vines. I love spot treatments when it comes to card treatments. Like, nothing wrong with just, like, foil, right? But when it's spot treated to, like, highlight parts of the artwork, I just love that stuff. The deep recesses of existence. A Shadow Runeblade attack with Rune Gaze. This is for Vincent. Oh, this is one of the new Gravy Bones allies. This is Bubba Lubba, Run Aground. So yeah, it's Boo and Bubba Lubba are the 2 new pirates for the Gravy Bones deck. So this one enters the arena with a +1 counter. It can attack, or you can remove a counter from an ally to destroy an aura token. So this is a very specific aura hatred card for Gravy Bones to use. And it also adds in the canon that Gravy Bones has a zombie crewmate named Bubba Lubba. The original High Seas that debuted the pirates, one of, like, Gravy Bones' crew, one of them, the most powerful one, who has, like, 13 attack, is a guy called Whaler Humperdinck. And it's Whaler, you know, W-A-I-L-E-R, as he is wailing. And the artwork is this giant fat zombie man standing on the bridge of a ship going, "Rah!" And it's fantastic. Threw Boo in the Viscord in case they aren't pulled. Yeah, Boo is adorable. I saw a Marvel Boo, I think, and it was really cool. Shroud of the Fate Watcher, Blade Break 0 for Wizards. When this so Blade Break to create a Sigil of Fate. Another one of those. 3 packs remaining. I don't know what you all think might be in here. The things we don't have yet. The things I am not expecting, but it would be nice. A Legendary or a Marvel. Either one. That would be kind of cool. No, Whaler Humperdinck is anything but a skeleton. Well, he has a skeleton face, but Whaler Humperdinck is a very, very large undead man. We got a Frail Swing Line. This trap is funny. There's this and there's a trap, which is just a pit of tigers, but it's a trap, so I'm liking to imagine that Riptide, the trap-oriented ranger, just, like, set up a bunch of swing lines all over the battlefield that are pre-cut, or, like, just secretly brought 80 tigers with him to a fight and nobody noticed, and he put them all in a pit. I don't know, it's very funny to me. Another tree hug, another bear hug for a tree, another man overboard. Oh, here he goes, the head version of Phoenix Bannerman. So this one creates a Ponder token. Got some more chaos with this lovely artwork. Oh yeah, Parabolic. Necromancer currently is only Pirate Necromancer, that being Gravy Bones. Gravy Bones immediately took over the meta for like half a season, because he has so much brain space and decision space that all the high level players just sunk into Gravy Bones. He has already had cards banned from his card pool, which has brought him down a little bit, but he is very much a board state character. His piece of his equipment is a compass in his offhand. He has no weapon, just the compass. The compass, you can tap it, so once per turn you just look at the top card of the deck, and he very much cares about preloading the top card, getting tons of free card draw and resources, playing allies out of the graveyard. Like, he's a very potentially oppressive character to play against. Bear in mind, anything that has on-hit triggers, if they hit one of your pirate friends, that is an on-hit trigger if it does not specifically say hits a hero. So if you play against, for instance, a Dorinthia main, and you play out a bunch of pirate allies, I am going to poke and kill all of your pirate allies and get tons of Dawnblade counters. Dorinthia loves playing against Gravy Bones. But yeah, I haven't played him against a person yet, but I've goldfished Gravy Bones a couple times just to like get the feel for the lines. I thought it was super fun. Like, very, very brainy, but pretty dang fun. Foil Rites of Earthlore. What kind of character are you if you don't even have your card banned? In the case of Flesh and Blood, that actually is a fair number of them. Shapeless Form. Whenever you play an attack card with Ephemeral, choose a name, it gets the chosen name. So this is kind of like Becomes the Bottle, but for Mystic. Ooh, this is a Cold Foil M, Cold Foil Majestic, Mechanologist base head. So this is a Cold Foil Majestic for Teklevossen. I can probably offload this real. In fact, I noticed the other Cold Foil Majestic I got from the pack that came in my Precon deck, it is not worth this, but because this set just came out, the Cold Foil M's are often pretty dang expensive right now. Oh, and I got the Unity chest for Warriors, too. So I am going to put a sleeve on this one, just in case I can buy list it somewhere. Because I am trying to buy list a bunch of Magic cards, and whatever I pull out of here that I'm not going to use, to fund another box of this, because I want to Gamba some more, and I don't want to spend money doing that. Alright, so as far as low-level good hits, this is like the one. Is like, I hope my box has a Cold Foil M that is worth something. That would be cool. We got 2 packs left before we go check the box topper pack. Yeah, the Synapse Spark Cap. This was actually one of the first Teklevossen cards they spoiled for this set that made the Teklevossen players go like, hey, wait a second. Hey, wait a second, they're not lying to us. Because this is a base head that can banish an Evo from your hand to create a Ponder token. So it lets you do, if I understood correctly at least, this lets Teklevossen start to take actions at a certain level of speed, which was one of the biggest issues with the character for a while. So we got some Submerge. Yeah, Parabolic, doing literally the Tolarian Community College booster box game, the OG G1 booster box game. Can my box trade up for another box so I just get more Gamba dopamine? Sigil of Fate again for the Wizards. Reviled Action. These Reviled Actions are so good. Insult to Injury. I love these. This is my favorite card I kept sharing on the Discord all the time and on streams. There's one of the first Reviled cards they spoiled was Spew Obscenities, and it was this tiny little dude down here facing a humongous Juggernaut man who's like leaning in to just like snarl unspecified like cuss words. And then the flavor text like gave that dude like this really funny name that just sounds like a cuss word. I can't remember what it was now. It was like I don't know, Thugger Gumption or something. I don't know. It was good stuff. Ooh, this is the big for the Pirate Mechanologist, Puffin. This is like the big card for her in this set. The Sky Warden number 161803. I've only played against Puffin, and only a couple of times. I want to try running Puffin, because she was fascinating. Because she's like Mechanologist BS, But as a pirate, she also wants to generate gold to make golden cogs to do even more mechanologist BS, and have to like maintain like between somewhere like 3 to 15 different counters on different cards. Like, it was so cool. Herald of Victoria. This is literally for Prism. Is this double-sided? Nah. Oh, I got another... So I pulled a foil of this. This is maybe just, I don't know, Parabolic or someone else, if you know Cheyenne. So Cheyenne is the shapeshifter hero who was only in Blitz. And she's a majestic hero card, so she's not in Silver Age. And a lot of people were kind of like, but Cheyenne. And then in this set, they printed exactly one Cheyenne's specialization card. So this might... So Blitz is going to persist. They're changing Blitz to be a singleton format. And so, you know, the Blitz characters will live on in there, but it won't be competitively supported, so it probably won't get played much. But I love that, like, you know, there is still... Have a new Cheyenne card, because we want to do the shapeshifter border. Sport Pepper, thank you. Yeah, Fugger Grimes, that's his name. The Spew Obscenities guy. He's like the Juggernaut with like, but he's like tiny little beady eyes, and he's just like leaning in on this little dude. And his name is Fugger Grimes. Good stuff. It's good stuff. Illusionist equipment. This is the Illusionist Ward 1 create a ponder token. All right, we're on the final pack. Let's ride. Let's see what happens. What did this booster box cost me? Well, I did a bunch of trade-ins. Did I have to pay money to get those cards I traded in? I don't know, hypothetically, but I traded them in. I had store credit. I paid $7 for this booster box. I'm feeling good. We are becoming the bottle. Got a frail swing line. Conquering the icy terrain once more. One more of this one. I don't know if I want to... Do I want to try this with Fi? I'm not sure. Foil power of make-believe. I love this. Look, they only foiled the stuff that's make-believe. It's so freaking cool. Sigil of Voltaris. This is Lightning Rune Blade, so this is for whenever Aurora comes back, but this is Sage playable, so you can... Aurora is legal in Silver Age, so this is something just for her. Oh, we did not get the big kooky hit. Seeds of Strength, Elemental Guardian action, create 3 Might tokens, and Embra Forge Gauntlet. I actually pulled one of these already, but this is a pretty good Shadow Arms thing, so we'll see who I can put that with. That was all the packs, barring one, and this one can go real bad. This is the box topper. This is the Antiquity pack. So let me explain the Antiquity pack to you. This contains 3 cards. And there is quite a pool of cards. Not a huge pool, but a notable pool of cards these could be. The first slot is, and these are all full art Antiquity frame treatments. The first slot is... some kind of playable generic. It could be Sink Below, it could be Snatch. There is one bad card to pull from this, which is Rusted Relic. Nobody knows why Rusted Relic is amidst a bunch of actual generic staples, so there's one bummer hit in here. That's slot 1. Slot 2 could be another one of those, or could be a Fable. Slot 3... is usually a rainbow foil puzzle piece. There's 3 9-card puzzles. But if you open this and the back of the rainbow foil card is not a puzzle piece back, but one of these, then you hit a rainbow foil legendary, and that is very good. I don't expect that to happen. Parabolic, you even know about Rusted Relic. Actually, yeah, there is now a top-level extended art cold foil Antiquities frame version of Rusted Relic. Nobody knows why. Alright, so I did not get a super cool rainbow foil because even though this is kind of like the card back, it's not literally the card back. So that is one miss already. Is it in there as a deliberate bummer to drive up the gambling TM? So the thing is, every other card in that pool is actually a generic staple to the point where, like, when that was identified... like at the world premiere, James White was like, yeah, we tried to put generic staples in here, but then someone found that, you know, of that list, it suddenly ends with Rusted Relic, and they were like, James White, unless you are planning to craft some kind of extremely strange meta, why is Rusted Relic in here? So anyway, this is Rusted Relic. It is not. Scar for a Scar. All right, so these cards are ones that are good generic staples. This is actually a Silver Age playable generic staple, so I only need one more for a playset. But play sets of these are things that the bling-oriented are going to try to put together. So unless whenever I get a second box, unless I pull a second one of these, I'm probably going to buy list or trade this thing. And we got Remembrance. I actually needed a Remembrance, so I don't mind this. This is usually a 1 of or a 2 of for the decks that I have identified it for, that being Pleiades Fatigue. I don't know if I'm going to run Pleiades Fatigue, but those are 2 decent Antiquities pulls. Not mind-blowing. My piece of... I got the Boobs card. So this is the Riches of Tropeldani new artwork. This is a 9th of it. And they redid it to be... the fabled gem is now being held by 2 mermaid statues. And they are very boobular. And I got literally the boob card. The Earth Wizard... She had like I think it was Gem Pack 2, maybe? She was one of the 9-card art cards, and the bottom middle card was just her feet. So it was the feet card, and I remember hearing about that when I started playing the game. So, you know, I feel like a small sense of full circleness that coming into the game after the season of the feet card, I have now pulled the boob card. Maybe one of the 2 boob cards. So maybe I can go and trade this to, I can go find the Grand Archive players, I can go find the Weiss Schwarz players, I can maybe find, I mean this with love, the sweatiest of the HoloLive players. Maybe I can trade this to them for something, I'm not sure. Haboob and the boob card, it was Destiny, yes, you're correct, Long was here. But yeah, no, there's a couple folks locally who are actually trying to complete the puzzles from these Antiquity packs, box toppers. So I got to get in touch with them and let them know that, hey, I have the left boob of the Riches of Tropeldani, if you are in need of it. So that was our pack opening. No earth-shaking hits here, just a bunch of playable stuff. But if I do end up having some good fortune with the buy list I submitted somewhere, that is likely going to turn into another one of these. And I will stream the other one of these, because I think streaming the Antiquities pack is fun. I am unlikely to do anything past that as far as, like, boxes. I'm just not a sealed box person. There are a number of people in the community, and I respect them for it, who are buying cases. A case is 4 of these. And cases are, like, I know I'm likely getting a legendary or 2 out of this case. So I appreciate them for that. But that ain't the lifestyle I can live right now. Unless I get even more cool pulls and I'm able to, like, accrue like half a grand in store credit, and then, hey, maybe. Then I would just feel bad about blowing, half a grand of product out of someone's inventory on store credit, but, c'est la vie. But yeah, a lot of that store credit was on the back of some really good Super Slam pulls. I pulled a lot of Marvels in Super Slam. Speaking of which, now that I have done this, I'm going to stack all these. I want to show you some of my Flesh and Blood cards to end the stream. We got cards based on body pillow art, so we might be good. Alright, True. I am mostly Joshin. I mean, stream regular Switcheruby is actually out, I believe, playing HoloLive right now. And I have heard that of, because now it is a genre, of the VTuber card games, HoloLive is basically, like, the good one. As far as, like, there are also, I think 1 or 2 of the other ones had decent mechanics, but they have very, let's call them storied releases. HoloLive came out, and it's available, and the simplest way I heard it put by someone who is deep into card games is, it is better Pokemon. They took Pokemon trading card game, improved it, and reskinned it with HoloLive. So if you liked playing Pokemon, apparently you will enjoy HoloLive. Yeah, there are others. There was Oshi Push, which apparently it was a Kickstarted game, and then it did the classic thing of being kickstarted and then delivering to backers someday whilst retail product was showing up on shelves, was made all the backers erupt in a somewhat justified rage. There is V-Card, which is not a card game. It is art cards that have game mechanics written on them that is not very good. There is Lucius Merryweather's card game, which apparently is pretty good. It's just very hard to purchase. It doesn't really have like a solid, way to buy it. You can't go to a store and buy it. Yeah, it's called V-Card. Yeah, also that. V-Card is, if you were to say one of them was just, what if it's the Gooner game, it is that one, To its credit, my understanding is V-Card was very supportive of quite a number of artists as far as commissioning a lot of artwork from them, and so, I can appreciate that from afar. It just, apparently is absolute dog water as far as being a game. What Pokemon type is Corone? I don't know. I don't know Pokemon that well, and I don't know HoloLive that well, so I'm not the one to ask. Treasoner, V-Card is so bad, it's like, what if someone somehow screwed up war? Yeah, that's what I understand. That is, the Gooner art side of it, whatever. I think Grand Archive looks like a really good game. But if the game isn't even, it's like, just sell trading cards, dog. Just make trading cards. Sorry, I missed earlier Treasoner saying someone in LGS has the worst Angel Woman playmat. Yeah, I've heard that's kind of the bummer about some communities that play Grand Archive, because I've been curious about that game, and some folks have said you kind of want to scope out your player community because it is a very solid, mechanically solid game. It does have a high count of folks who are going to run deck boxes and playmats that make you kind of go we're not at home. I don't know, man. It is not so much boobies on the cards. It's what's all that stuff? Oh, that's slime. Oh, Raiden has some Oshi Push info. It was worse. They did new art for the retail release that was better than the art in the Kickstarter boxes. Oh, right! The Kickstarter folks also got basically, beta product. That was improved for retail. Yeah, it was like an active punishment of backers. To get a little hyperbolic, but kind of an active punishment of backers. Anyway, here's Pleiades. This is my second main deck I want to run because I pulled this! When I was out in BC over the holidays, there's a store out in BC that's kind of trying to clear out of Flesh and Blood, and they had a lot of Super Slam pre-release packs, which are 8 packs with a pretty good pull rate, and they were selling them for $10-20 off or something. And so I bought one, and then it had the Pleiades Marvel in it. And so the Marvels are double-sided cold foil full arts. I'll show you this with a few less materials in the way. So it's a cold foil full art of a character, and on the other side you get another cold foil. It's a double-sided card where if you don't remember what the character does, don't worry, it's all over here, but also still full art cold foil. It's gorgeous. So this set Compendium is dropping a whole bunch of these for young heroes for Silver Age. But I pulled this, and Pleiades was already starting to become my second CC character. And I had a moment, because I was like, I can buy list this somewhere for over $200. I could just turn this into more than another box of Compendium, but I like this character. So I was like, no, this was the world telling me, no, you are playing Pleiades as your second CC main. So I put her into one of these things, so that she can live, a proper full life. For which way around is that? This way around. And then, And then stuff got funny because, like... Okay, so... They, Raiden, you got a Marvel! You got Marvel Lexi. I'm jealous. I didn't get any Marvels in my box. Wah, wah. I was kind of hoping for a Marvel. The pre-release packs also have this little cold foil pack of 4 cards and 1 random one. And I have a playset of the random one that Pleiades can use in cold foil. Then they did these Black Friday packs, which are primarily cold foil extended art bling for Pleiades, and I have, like, one from one of those. And then I naturally pulled into 2 rainbow foil boulder drops from my participation packs. And then I got another Black Friday pack with one of these. And then I drew into one of these from the sets. A couple of these are just in the set as extended cold foils. So during Black Friday sales, I overspent on 2 more copies of this so I can have a play set of this one in extended art cold foil. And then I gem-packed into extended art turning point. So I'm not going to, like, commit to it, but I'm, like, flowing into a fully blinged out Pleiades deck. And I don't hate it. But Pleiades, for those who have not played her, who do know Guardian, Parabolic basically, she is sometimes referred to as a secret illusionist, because she likes to play at instant speed a lot. These auras of suspense that come out with 2 counters on them that tick down 1 at the start of your turn. And she can tap once to move a counter from one aura to another one. So she can prolong an aura, or she can tick down an aura faster at the same time. And then, like, what some of the auras do, like Act of Glory, when this leaves the arena, so when it ticks to 0 at the start of your turn, your next attack gets +6. Edge of your seat is the same thing, but for +5. But then, like, Suspense is Killing Me, this is an aura you want to keep around, because as long as it's on the table, your first attack each turn gets +1. There's another one, which is, as long as it's on the table, each copy makes all your cards cost 1 less. So you are trying to play some of these, like, at instant speed at the end of your opponent's turn, like in the final window for instant speed, to, like, set up... Like, I commonly, with Pleiades, number 1, lose, but number 2, also get to send a boulder drop for 18 or 19, when its base attack is 7, which is super friggin' fun. Even if I only get to do it once, I'm like, well, I did my thing once. I got to send an 18 attack at you. And when Pleiades gets cheered, which a lot of her cards do, she creates confidence tokens. And confidence is, at the start of your next turn, destroy this. The next attack action card you play this turn can't be defended by more than 2 non-block cards. So, I send boulder drop for 18. With confidence on, it means they can only block this with 2 cards that are not block cards. And block cards are the ones that say block down here. There aren't a ton of them. So they can only block with, in combination, up to 2 cards of cards out of hand and equipment. So you set up an 18, 19 damage boulder drop. And then when it does 4 or more damage to them, because it will, they have to put a card from their hand on top of their deck. So you take a card away from them as well. It's so... And then if you are able to, and this is a little bit Magic Fantasyland, if you can tear asunder before that, it's going to be 19 dominate confidence. Boulder drop will make them lose a card to the top of the deck, and this will make them lose a card, or 2 cards, straight to discard. It's so very fun. It's so very fun. Also, Pleiades' signature weapon, the Moment Maker, is a hammer axe shaped like a guitar. It's not great, but those of us who play aggro Pleiades doggedly try to make her work with this, because it's thematically perfect. That said, there is a very popular Fatigue Pleiades list right now that is making use of stuff like, where is it? Miller's Grindstone as the main weapon. Or, like, siding into Sledge of Anvilheim for, like, fatigue damage games. Like, playset of Righteous Cleansing. Because she has a couple of cards that let her loop cards out of the graveyard. And so for Fatigue Pleiades, it's about looping a certain couple of cards. So your deck never decks out, and you loop these, like, block clash effects or whatever. And
is super bonkers. I haven't tried playing it yet. Like her own signature cards are stuff like Standing Ovation. I got to do this once. This is an attack, costs 6, attack for 8. If 3 or more auras of suspense have left the arena this turn, so if you set up 3 auras that all popped this turn when you attack with this, this gets, when this hits a hero, take an extra turn after this one. At the beginning of the next end phase, they draw up to their intelligence. So your opponent gets to draw with you, and then you take a second turn in a row. I got to do that once, and it felt so cool. I love this card. Her main one is, where is it? Up on a pedestal. When this enters or leaves the arena, you can put a Revered or Guardian attack action from your graveyard on top of your deck. That's her Looper card. And what happens next is the cost reductor. And Cries of Encore is the other one. It's an attack for 7. If you've been cheered this turn, this gets, when this hits a hero, you may play an Aura of Suspense from your graveyard this turn. So this lets you recur your auras, and this lets you recur your attack actions. So she can cycle cards out of graveyard while swinging Fatigue Guardian style. Also, she has this one in the palm of your hand. When this aura enters or leaves the arena, draw a card. So you put this down at the end of their turn to draw a 5th card. Start of your turn, it ticks to 1, and then you can tap Pleiades to tick it to 0, move to tick something else up by 1, and draw another card. This is another really good one. Anyway, also, this was last season's gem packs. They reprinted this. I pulled this 3 times, and I sold the other 2 for, like, $75 a piece to fellow players. I got very lucky last season with the gem packs, because I just kept pulling this one. This was, like, the equipment to pull. Amongst the equipments to pull. This seemed to be, like, the most valuable one. Anyway, that's my Pleiades setup. My Pleiades and Gravy Bones live in this box because they're both, you know, they're fine. They're not fully tuned, but I just think they're neat. Then I'll show you my main quiver bolt that I use. So this is what I bring to armories. This is my quiver bolt with my stickers on it. Live, laugh, lobotomy. The Pineapple Bot. Cyclonus. Cybertronic Spree stuff. Yeah, she's Pleiades because she's a rock star. There is a super, like, triple chase alt art, full art Marvel Pleiades, which is Pleiades drawn as a constellation, and the entire card is written in, damn it, now it just left my head. The New Zealand indigenous language. It's gonna bother me. You know when you know a word, but then you think you're like so energetic that it just like flies out of your... What is it called? Maori. Thank you so much, Adam Rockmore. So the constellation alt art Pleiades is written entirely in Maori, and it's like it's just like space. It's just black and blue, fully chromed. It's Pleiades as a constellation of stars, and the whole card is written accurately in Maori. A handful of players on a subreddit complained, saying, like, what if I can't read that? And they were like, the normal Pleiades hero card is a token that you will get if you buy, like, 3 booster packs. You can just have that one there as well to read it if you need to. Because there were some people who were like, oh, what if I can't read Maori? It's like, well, dog, if you managed to only own the Pleiades constellation, you were not only incredibly lucky to draw that card out of a pack or pull it from a pack, you were somehow unlucky enough to never pull a Pleiades token. So, like, I don't know. Find out what happened to your lineage sometime centuries past. Because, like, in this game, the hero cards, right, unless they're meant to be a secret hero, they are tokens. You are laden with copies of the heroes of any given set if they are in the set. So, like... And also, Parabolic is absolutely right. Flesh and Blood does not require you to play single language cards, and it is available in multiple languages. It's very common for people to purchase like Japanese Flesh and Blood cards because you can get legendaries for cheaper if it is the Japanese version or the Spanish version or something like that. And so as long as you just tell people what it does, have a picture of the real one if you need to, it's fine. It's legal. It's fine. And yeah, then people were going like Maori, and it's like, dog. That is just a language. I'm so sorry. Anyway, here's what I usually carry around. I've got some of those funny dice everyone has. These are 4 of my more weird or favorite Silver Age decks. And this is my Dorinthia deck, which is currently the Unga Bunga aggro version, because I have the most fun playing it. So here she is. This is her. This is she. This is my girl. It's Dorinthia Ironsong, the most fair hero in the game. She always plays by the rules. One of these days, they're going to give her just a gun, and it's gonna be great. This is just the token version, so I put her young version on the back. Because I used to put the 2 together. Then we did a draft of Wave 1 2 months ago locally. Because players here have boxes. So we did an actual draft of Wave 1, and someone pulled foil refraction bolters, and I begged them to trade them to me afterwards. But I believe I snagged this actual double-sided token. And here is her very fair weapon. I have a rainbow foil version now. And then here is her special arm bits. I saved $10 buying these by buying the history pack version, but the place I bought them from was like, do you want one that's in a perfect fit that just gives it a black border? And I was like, sure. Here is my now rainbow foil special Dorinthia shoes. You break these once to give it attack that hits go again. And the way I have the deck set up is that I have those equipments and 54 cards that I always use. And then back here, I pick my head, my chest, and my other 6 cards. So if I don't know what's going to happen, I pick my $54 Crown of Providence. There's a story behind that. And my Courage of Bladehold. And then my triple Glistening Steel Blades, my red Overpower, and my 2 Agile Engagements. But if I'm playing against someone who's going to use a weapon, I use my Kabuto of Imperial Authority. If I'm playing against Gravy Bones, I use my Grains of Blood Spill to be a bully. And then if I have to do Null Rune stuff, I put on my Null Rune gloves. And then if I'm going to be blocking, got my Sink Belows, got my Oasis Respite and taking on the chins if it's going to be some, non-attack damage. Got my Dauntlesses for if someone's going to be running defense reactions. And I got my Energy Potions for if I really, really want to be doing tons of extra free swings, if I think I'm going to need to do that. Because Flesh and Blood is a game where it is best of 1, and you come in with your full rack of cards, and the opening step of the game is you see the hero and weapon your opponent is using, and based off that information, decide what cards you're going to actually play with out of your 80 cards. But like some classics in here, Ironsong Determination, a classic, +1 and Dominate for the turn. This is the new Super Slam card from the last set for Dorinthia, the Beat of the Ironsong. It's a modal card, and you get to pick more modes the more counters you have on the Dawnblade. This card rules. Singing Steel Blade, the classic Dorinthia Tutor. Steel Blade Supremacy, the classic Dorinthia, oh no, I have to block all these or she's going to draw a ton of cards. Blade Flurry took me more than 3 months to track down a playset of this one. This is a key warrior card. Twitting Blade, another classic. Route, I believe in Route. Important card. Unsheathed, like Blade Flurry. These are the first 2 expensive playset cards warriors have to track down. You kind of you don't have to, but boy howdy. Once you have a playset of each of these, warrior gameplay feels so friggin' good. Oh, it's so good. This is my favorite card in the game, Provoke. I love this card. You can do this as an attack reaction. If your opponent, had a hand of 4 cards, they blocked you with, say, 3 of those 4 cards because they sat there and thought for like 2 whole minutes of like, oh, what card do I save? You attack react with Provoke and say, get rid of that last card. Thank you. I love the feeling of playing Provoke. that's about all the fun stuff. Diamond Amulet is the Unga Bunga new tech. You use this as a second refraction bolters. Yeah. So the last thing I'll tell you is my Crown of Providence story. So this card is the generic headpiece. This is like Fyendal's Spring Tunic is the generic chest piece. This is the generic headpiece. Usually runs in the non-foil version. It still tends to run 150 to 100 and like sub 200, but lots of money. And I was like, man, they reprinted it, by the way, in this set and this set as a legendary with new art. But one night I was insomnia-ing, and at like 5 in the morning, I was just looking around for listings of Crown of Providence because it's just the thing I was doing. And Silver Goblin had one up that said starts at $53, and I was like, huh? And I looked and it said in stock, 1 damaged. This is the lowest grade of quality. 1 damaged Crown of Providence. In Flesh and Blood, for the most part, you never shuffle equipment into your deck, so you don't have to care about them being, you know, marked or anything. So I ordered it, and it showed up. This is lowest quality Crown of Providence. Does it look like it? No. This looks near mint, doesn't it? When I got this card, I was like, I don't understand how this is damaged, because I was expecting this to be mulched and white and stuff all around the borders. And I looked at it like this, and I was like, literally, I don't understand why this is damaged. And then I flipped it over, and still did not understand why this was damaged. Because I thought when I flipped it over, I was going to see a tapestry of fatigue across this thing. And I was like, how did I save over $100 on this? And this when this caught a glint in the light is when I saw the crease. And I was like, oh! Well, how does that crease look on the front? It's invisible, unless you are reflecting it around in the light. And then the best part about the crease in the back, where you can most easily see it, is number 1, you're never going to look at the back of this card. And number 2, when I put it into a perfect fit even, the level of light filtration made the crease even harder to highlight. And it is all but non-existent on the front of the card. And then when I put it into a gold sleeve, so it's, you know, the way I sleeve my gear for Dorinthia, I spent several weeks handing people this, going like, hey, look, here's my damaged $53, $54 Crown of Providence. And they'd look at it and go like, what are you talking about? So, if I ever pull the new Crown of Providence, which has very nice artwork, if I even pulled out of like a hunted pack or something, like I think that's that or Dusk Till Dawn, the foil version of this, or the cold foil version of this, I will sell those. Because no Crown of Providence will ever be as good as my weird, invisibly damaged $53 Crown of Providence. This will always be my Crown of Providence for the rest of my life playing this game. Because this is such a hilarious story. I feel more attachment to this than any more blinged out version I could possibly ever pull. Which is also great because then I can sell them and get lots of store credit and or money for them. And hey yo, trading card games. But also, I don't understand. Because here's something else. Because I just saw it, Treesman, you're saying put it between a book for a few weeks. I don't have to. Because that crease, you can't. I've tried. You can barely even feel the crease because the crease is under the outer layers of cardboard. It's only really on the inner layer. So, and it's so clean. I don't understand what happened. And so I'm like, did someone at Silver Goblin just like drop this and roll their chair over it and then immediately get yelled at for a week? And if so, could they please do that for Fyendal Spring Tunic and Command and Conquer and Enlightened Strike and Shelter from the Storm, please? So I can just like get my staples with creases in them that are invisible. Because one of the local judges said this probably wouldn't pass muster if it was, you know, just single-sleeved in a deck and was one of the actual shuffleable cards. But I have perfect fits with darkened backs. I'm happy to triple sleeve my decks, if necessary. I will take the most beat-up Command and Conquers in the world. Sports Peppers, I was wondering, like, if it got caught in a collation machine or something. Because, like, it's just such a weird, clean, perfect crease on an otherwise dead-ass mint card. Anyway, it's so funny. And that is why I will never run any other copies of Crown of Providence. Because that one's mine. And the best part is, if anyone's like, oh, that guy has a rare Crown of Providence, I'm going to steal it. Go ahead. Steal a Crown of Providence that you will not be able to sell for more than like $50 to somebody. Have a good time thinking you're stealing a $200 card. He will take the most beat up command card as a true Tiberian son. But yeah, my Silver Age decks. This is my weird Dorinthia one that I net decked because it was a weird one that I saw on Fabrary, the deck list website. It was called Dorinthia Whirling Dervish because someone put together this list where she's using Hot Streak and Quicksilver Dagger, which is demented. So I want to try to make this work because I played half a game with this and it was fascinating. Because Dorinthia's effect is usually not something you use unless you want to swing with weapons a lot. Having two weapons, you're already kind of fine, but then these weapons can generate their own go-agains. She can let them attack several times a turn. It just seems like it could be a way for her to just, like, fake her way into being a slightly worse ninja than Fi, and I'm kind of into that. So that's one of my Silver Age decks. This one I haven't gotten to play yet, dang it. But this is my... Here. This is my Levia deck, using my original Blitz deck Levia, who I never got to play as. Mandible Claw is about to rotate out. I don't know if it's going to rotate out of Silver Age, but someone put together a Levia deck that's using... what's that card called? Like the Hellhammer of Death Meat or something? Anyway, I've got a copy of it. I got to pick up somewhere to give that a try. But she's my main Brute I want to run in Silver Age. I did make a Rhinar deck, though, so I can have a classic Brute available, too. She uniquely needs all of her cards to be in the same sleeves because she involves a lot of pulling random cards out of your graveyard. And when, a piece of equipment breaks, a lot of people just flip it over. But mechanically, you're supposed to put it in the graveyard. And in her case, that's, it's necessary. Yeah, I mean, Sport Peppers, I might have gotten some of the name wrong, but, the spirit of it's there. And then, because she is already a main. Oh, where did the dang hero card go? I don't know where the hero card went. I have more. Anyway, this is... Oh, there it is. This is the Young Hero Pleiades. So this is my Pleiades Silver Age deck, which is a net-decked one, but it's net-decked from someone who was building her to be sort of aggro. So I'm like, all right, this is going to be some aggro good times. Because Silver Age is the budget format, I gave her all the budget tokens. Because they have tokens that they release as a perforated card that you just split in half. The one bummer about Guardians in Silver Age is that there is no better Guardian weapon than Titan's Fist. So it's actually becoming hard to find Titan's Fist. This is a 5-cent card, but there are some local marketplaces where no one can find Titan's Fist because everyone's been buying them. But it's a token, so you're actually legally allowed to proxy Titan's Fist. I vaguely recall the perforated tokens from Scry Magazine. I think I tried to use those when I was a kid. And then this is my guy. This is my guy, the secret hero of High Seas, Scurv the Stowaway. I love this guy. The Thief. Here's his buddy, Sticky Fingers, the octopus with a bandana. Here is the only weapon that Scurv can use, Talishar the Lost Prince. It's the one and only generic weapon in the game. It's the only weapon he can use. There is no pirate generic weapon. There's no thief weapon. It took me a while to find one of these. And then they just reprinted it for Sage in one of the precon decks, but whatever. And yeah, the Blade Beckoner set, this is becoming impossible to find, so it's also reprinted in the precon decks. It's generally the best generic armor in Silver Age. But then what this guy wants to do is I want to use your money or your life, and then I want people to try to block me. and I also want to wage gold while I do it, and then I want to hit them with my rainbow of pummels, because I have every pummel in here. 2 red, 2 yellow, 2 blue. Every pummel! I want to pummel them while I rob them. And that's kind of the whole thing that this deck does, is you pummel them and you rob them. And if you wager and you lose the wager and they get a gold token, they need to spend 2 to, like, use it if we're going to use it. You can have Sticky Fingers, when this attacks a hero, steal a gold from them. So Sticky Fingers deploys, attacks, and regardless of what happens, steals the gold back if they have a gold from your own card effects. The lore of Scurv, I did research. There's not much of it. Scurv is a pirate who stows away on ships and gets drunk, and wants to, he wants to just live his life. So he gets arrested a lot. One time he got arrested, and while trying to break out of jail, met Sticky Fingers, this weirdly intelligent octopus with a bandana. He needed help breaking out. Sticky Fingers basically went, like, without saying anything, because, octopi can't talk, was able to mime at him that, like, hey, well, if you bring me money, I'll help you break out. So he did, and then they broke out together. They stowed away on a ship together, and then they established a working relationship where Scurv, provides Sticky Fingers with gold. Sticky Fingers provides Scurv with booze. And thus, the effect of Scurv is that you try to get gold, which you can use to create Gold Kiss Rum, which Scurv can use to get extra actions on turns. And the topper is that once I deploy Sticky Fingers becomes an ally once they leave your offhand. So the other character, the other hero, your opponent, can attack and kill Sticky Fingers to get Sticky Fingers off the board. And when they do, I immediately say, wow, you just murdered my octopus friend who wears a cute bandana. Look at him. No, are you attacking Sticky Fingers? Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. And tell me you're attacking him. And I try to make it really uncomfortable for them. And it's worked so far. They still kill him, but, they feel terrible about it. Oh, I was excited about Fallen Empires when I realized that I was able to spend about, like, at the time, a very small amount of money to get the entire set, like play sets of everything using all the different alt arts, because the set is terrible. So when I was a kid, I was able to full complete a set of at least get close to fully completing a set of Fallen Empires. By the way, these are my tokens I use for Flesh and Blood, and I made some of these. This is my resource token, because keeping track of resources is important, and a lot of people have these really cool resource coins that are double-sided like this, and they're metal, and they're designed thematically to go with the city that a Worlds event took place in, or any event took place in. And people have offered, like, oh, do you want me to get you one from, like, the Montreal event? I'm like, no, I don't want to own one of those metal tokens till I go to an event where I get it as a souvenir. So in the meantime, I made my own by painting this on a piece of leftover board game insert wood, which is the same thing I did for my Dominate token. Or crushed, so I know if someone's been crushed or dominated. Same thing for if you've been cheered by the crowd, I have my cheer token, but if you've been booed by the crowd, it turns into my boo token. I have my go again token, so I know if I have go again or not. And for Dorinthia, I made my own +1 counters for the Dawnblade. So it goes +1, and then if I get another one, it turns into +2. Get another one, I pull out my +3, and then if I get another one, it turns into +4. If I have that many tokens on the Dawnblade, I win, probably, but sometimes I have had to put more on. And then, like, these are the really nice tracker dice. These ones are just, when you attack, it is polite, if possible, once you finish presenting an attack, to find the final amount of attack damage you're presenting and put this on the card so your opponent can reference that while they're figuring out how they want to block. And so these 4 dice let you go up to presenting 24 attack if you are insane. And then these 4 dice are just for your 4 equipment slots, and they show if you have -1 or +1 counters on your equipment. And it's just helpful stuff for maintaining a clear game state. And the other 2 dice that I don't use as much, there is a die for keeping track of your resources, but since I made like my own fancy one, I only use this if I somehow go above 2 resources, which is very uncommon in this game for me. And then this die lets you keep track of some statuses. This is mostly for Fyendel's Spring Tunic, which is the most, common, expensive, generic chess piece. That thing is every turn you put a counter on it. And then when it has 3 counters on it, you can't put any more counters on it. And once it has 3 counters on it, at any time you can destroy all 3 counters. Not the tunic, you just spend the 3 counters to get 1 free resource. So keeping track of your tunic warrants a whole die, because most players eventually have a tunic. Hopefully, in the next couple of months, I get me my tunic. We'll see. But yeah, this dice set is a very common dice set made by, I think they're called Thai Dice Company. But they make this in a bunch of different treatments. They make bigger ones for streamers, too. But you can get this is marbled, but you can get it in clear, you can get it in glitter. And it helpfully all fits happily into my quiver. But that said, if you are an academic user, this is one of the best cases for carrying Flesh and Blood around, because you can hold 2 classic constructed decks in here, or just 1 classic constructed deck where you have these, like, hard plastic shells on all of your equipment. You can hold 2 Silver Age decks down here, but this dice pit is the exact perfect height for those Flesh and Blood dice, and it fits them all with room for like stuff like my tokens, like right over here. So a lot of Flesh and Blood players walk around with academics. I'm just using it primarily for like my other main classic constructed decks. I forgot to put my tokens away. Disgusting. Adam Bill Moo, are you still here? The blue-green sleeve colors also. Oh yeah, this is just Dragon Shield, I think. It's Dragon Shield? Hang on. I'm enough of a freak I can tell by rubbing it. Yeah, this is Dragon Shield. This is Dragon Shield Mint. Adam Bill Moo, can I show them an unopened brick of cards, or should I not? Should I wait? Do it. Hang on a second. I'll be right back. I just gotta run over to my door and grab something. I'm gonna show you an unopened brick of cards. Alright, if you're going to TFCon LA, this is important. If you're going to TFCon anywhere, this is still important. It's just this is debuting in LA. But if you're a pre-registered attendee of TFCon LA and you get there and you go in the door, there is a very decent chance you will be handed one of these. And this has a bunch of one-of cards, but this also, happens to be a playable half deck. So let's say that you attended TFCon LA, right? If you're one of the first, I forgot, it was like first 2,000 people in the door, then you have one of these. And if you want to play this game, you can find someone else who was one of the first 2,000 people in the door and go like, hey, do you have a TFCon pack too? Oh, the first 2,222 pre-registrants at TFCon LA. So if you're one of those and you have this and you find another one of those and they have one of these, then you can play the game together using these little half decks. It's just singleton, full art cards. It features the Auto Trooper and someone else. But then the really neat part is if you take 2 of these and you put them together, now you have a normal 40-card TFTCG deck with 24 stars of characters, because the 2 characters you get in this have Horde 3, so you can run up to 3 copies of them on the same team. So you put 2 of these together, you have a deck. And then, the really funny part, if you put 3 of these together, you have play sets of all the full arts, and you have 3 of each, 3 copies of each of the characters who have Horde 3. So in the far-flung future, you could run, say, 3 Auto Troopers, if you wanted to, and have these nicely printed cards to do so. Anything can be print and played as well, but, like, you can just get physical cards, which feels very nice. And yeah, who did the Auto Trooper art again? I don't have this one open, so I can't show both, but it is either Snowy or I said the name. It's Snowy. Okay. Can you show us the set? I could. Hang on. Let me step away from my computer again for some reason. I'll just be right back. James Marsh. I thought it was, and I was like, is it Marsh? And then I second-guessed myself. Is this 2 of them? This might be 2 of them. Hang on, let me take a look at something here. Hang on a second. I was riffle shuffling these a bunch, so they're kind of mixed up. I love riffle shuffling the cards that Bill Moo makes and then telling him I did it. I'll just leave these together. You'll see 2 copies of things. But ATF Compact 2 has a full list of what you get in it on the back of that. And then if you've never played the game before, or you want to have reference stuff, there's a 6-page instructions. These are double-sided. And these, like, describe how to play Transformers TCG. So once again, if you're playing your little pack that you got, for, as part of your pre-registrant thing, then you don't know how to play, then hey, guess what? There's the rules. There's an advertisement, because we love our folks. Do you remember the 1980s? Do you remember the 1980s? Do you remember the 1980s? And then here are your characters. The Seeker and the Auto Trooper. And so, as you can see, they are Horde 3, so your starting team may have up to 3 characters with the same name that have Horde 3 on them. So, you get 1 of each, and then if you buy 2 packs, you have 2 of each. That adds up to 24 stars, 25-star game. But if you buy a 3rd one, then you have 3 of each, and then you... Diaclonic Collab reference, Pog, that's right. You remember the Auto Trooper from our... You remember the Seeker from our... Notice how this Seeker is a better shade of blue that doesn't look like Thundercracker from our collab? Available now on YouTube.com, on 2 channels. Having been born in 99, I do not, in fact, remember the 1980s. Damn it! Bill, there's a hole in your marketing. Then here's the full arts. So if you ever wanted the SDCC exclusive tandem targeting system, and you wanted someone to print it for you, then now you have one. And this is 2 of them put together, so there's going to be some doubles, but there is also incoming transmission. And you got your lion weight, your reinforced plating. I believe these are all based on existing art that's used for these cards, but full artified. I will say that my understanding is at least one of these involved an amount of editing to become full art, that it is still quite a level of artistry if you are looking for that. Like, this is you might be able to tell by the layouts, like, these were definitely not like just fit the existing art onto the full frame, but like it's still meant to occupy the placing to a nice degree. This is the one. It is my understanding that it is very hard to find this piece of art without word bubbles somewhere all over it. And you got your handheld blaster, you got your take the shot, you got your vaporize, your piercing blaster, your hidden fortification. Incoming transmissions art is 33% my art. Oh, okay, that answers that. So you mean you didn't just you didn't just go diagonal drag? And leap into battle. Preparedness. Megatron with the improvised shield that is a car. So it's 20 different cards, and then this is 2 times those 20 different cards. So if you're in LA, then that is a time wherein it is a behoovery to you to pick up one of these, or receive one of these, or even do both, or even do the second part twice if you want playsets. You don't need playsets. That just gets into whether or not you want to be someone who's like, I need my full array of options. Our pal Naga, for example, is the kind of person I think who would want playsets because I need playsets to have my 3 all look the same. And also, like, there's another one of these. So, there's a couple of these. But those have been at all the TF cons. So if you're like me and only going to Toronto, but you want to try playing this game, you can get one of these packs, and it's also just a starter deck. This 2026 one has rules cards as well. And the characters in it are Ironic and Nova Storm and someone else who I put on the back because I was trying to be a nerd about this. Grimlock, obscure character. Like, we got classics like Alicon Ironic and Nova Storm, but then we got this, like, freaks like Grimlock. Yeah, the Nova Storm rules. Nova Storm is my favorite of these 3 characters by a long shot. I was maining Nova Storm during Siege era, baby. Isn't it ironic, don't you think? And then these starter deck packs just come with playsets. It's meant to, the idea behind this, as I was told, is meant to be a way to just create a pack with playsets of staples and then arrange them as starter decks. By happenstance of doing that, it is worth noting that I haven't tested this yet, but I believe Bill Moo has. If you have like the 2024 starter deck and the 2025 starter deck, like, these are kind of 3 starter decks, and you could play them all against each other. Given, you know, the inherent power creep of providing, like, increased levels of staple cards, so like some base staples, advanced staples, more advanced staples. This deck has a lot more guts and fire in it. So if you are just trying to play these as they are against each other, this one probably has more meat and more dynamite to possibly overwhelm the other 2. But, you know, some of that is also going to be player skill. But yeah, the main idea is mostly to get, like, cards in hands. It is, yeah, Sky CU, it is a starter deck. That's why this one, no, they all say it now. They all say starter deck. Any fire guts? No, not yet. I've been trying to push for that. But yeah, all the character cards in these are this SD style. Like this, the second one has Bug Bite, Bumblebee, and Thundercracker. And this is a way to, you know, have them be normal size cards for the sake of much easier printing and shipping. But it also means artists get paid commissions to do new original artwork, and then they get printed en masse, and you get to look at the artwork that they did. This one's got Flame War and Optimus and someone else. Where is that someone else? Where'd they go? Oh, I might have taken them out by accident. Oh no, someone else is here. It's non-transforming Nightbird on the back of the cover card. So if you are going to TF cons, there will be a TCG room, and at the very least, these things, in some form, are floating around. And if there are leftovers of them,
then these things may be floating around too. And also, when they are bricked, in a pinch, if something bad goes down at the convention, you can hurl these at people, and they have quite a corner. Very solid corner. It'll stun an assailant if something weird happens, like in the States. Adam Bill Moo is speculating that that these are $10 US. Wait, these ones? No. Oh, goodies. Yeah, these are $10 US. Is the speculation of what these might cost in the TCG room. These things in the future where we are going to spend the rest of our lives. I'm mostly joking about not going to LA because it happened again. 2 or 3 well-meaning people asked me offhand in the last month, "Hey, are you coming to LA?" And I was like, "No. I do not see myself entering the United States in the foreseeable future," and kind of wanting to not make them depressed, and I think I still made them depressed. The TFCon packs are more convention exclusives. Yeah, they're... Speculation is TFCon packs may be above $10 US. Mint Tip DH. Am I an Ultraman fan? I ain't just an Ultraman fan. I also represent the proud nation. I represent the proud nation of Zeton and Zeton Incorporated, and also Baltan. I didn't know I had Baltan in that sleeve. I guess I did. Yo, GLX Blurt. Yeah, I did all my pack rippings. I was just rambling about card games. I want to show that Baltan holo treatment again, where you look at them from one angle, they're normal, and then they get more and more pixelated. It's so cool. Oh no, the questionable window damage was the other hotel I stayed at for one night before I went to the main convention one. But yes, the first hotel I went to in LA was a few blocks away from the convention center, and I arrived and found a bullet hole in the window. Yes, that is true. Zeton primed in hugging posture. Yeah, Zeton's just getting ready to awkwardly wave his arms at you. Yeah, while I'm here, I may as well show off my my skill set. I only watched a bit of the Takara live stream because I was still awake when it was happening, and I watched a bit of them messing with Toy-Rise Gaogaigar, but the performance side of it was like getting on my nerves because they were doing things like the equivalent of someone going like, how do I put this? He was like. And then one of the two people in the back went like, "Oh!" And it was stuff like, at one point, a guy picked up Stealth Gao, and when he did, one of the two middle of the stage hosts gasped. And I'm like, "Oh!" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you gasping at? What, did he lifted the object and it didn't disintegrate? Like, what's going on? You don't need to do this." And then I went to bed. So I haven't gone back to watch the VOD. Sorry, because we have Adam Bilmu here, I do need to do this for him. They pointed out every ratchet joint. I do like the energy regardless. It's just there were some points where the energy got out of control. And I was like, settle down. This is for Adam. We gotta make sure Adam Bilmu is watching as I go to do my overhands, my nice safe overhands. Pre-heaving. There we go. So then you do your nice safe overhands. So you can take this and Give it a nice... like that. And you come up here and you go like, oh. Oh, yeah. And you give him a couple of the old one-handed cuts. Another one of these. Oh yeah, there we go. Because, I mean, not everyone's going to be carrying sleeves around, right? So I got to demonstrate these cards are usable when you know, they are unsleeved. Now bind them with a rubber band. I'm not a sicko. I'm not a freak. It's sad. Just realized. I do. Bill Moo's still here. You want to play cards? Wait. That's probably too much. Here's my nice one. You want to play cards? Don't worry. It's like it's basically a deck box. When back when it was wave 4 times, and I carried this through till conventions in the early 2020s. Back in the day, I had a pauper deck. It was all commons, and it ran with the 4 Micromaster Monster Truck Patrol, or the Truck Patrol guys, and I wanted it to all be unsleeved and in like a little deck box, like a cheapo deck box. But the 5th character was Impactor, so I took an X-Acto knife and I made a folding seam on the full character card of Impactor, so I could use the foiling side as a hinge to fold the card in half to fit in the deck box. And so I would play people saying, hey, do you want to play against my pauper deck? And so I'd throw this plastic box on the table, and then dump out the unsleeved cards, dump out the 4 character cards, then pull out the 5th one and unfold it on its slightly crooked hinge. And then I would immediately unsleeve, riffle shuffled 4 times the cards. And sometimes my opponents would be visibly nauseous. And I was like, well, you know what? Here's the thing. This just means I've won, right? This means I was like, do you forfeit? Or do you want to play? And then they'd be so distracted by my hideous scuffed up cards. And the best part was Impactor, because Impactor, because of the hinge not being properly a hinge, is when I tried to flatten him out, sometimes if he was in the wrong mode, he would sit there like this on the table, just like half folded up. And they'd look at it and just be like, and I'd be like, what's wrong? And they're like, you gotta flatten the impact. What? Huh? Like, and I was like, you okay? Anyway, if you're not, I'm gonna now attack. It's one of my favorite parts of card games, is discovering the other meta. Like when I play Bill Moo, and I'm like, hey, I brought my special gimmick deck, and it's one of Bill Moo's design cards, Sentinel Prime, Titan Master Sentinel Prime, with the piercing head, and then I bring out one of them has the piercing head. Anyway, Titan Master Sentinel Prime, and Titan Master Chrome Dome. And 3 copies of Showing Off and 3 copies of Start Your Engine, so I can flip Chrome Dome as much as possible and just keep making my opponent KO cards from their hand out of the game. And then I lose. But they're really not happy. And I'm like, all right, game 2, let me sideboard. And I pull out Chrome Dome and I put in Perceptor, who can flip to make them do Fact or Fiction and start putting cards under himself.
and then I play cards so that ideally I make them do fact or fiction 2 to 4 times in the same turn, and then I lose again. I don't ever win with this deck, except I do. Like, I mechanically lose, but I come away smiling, and my opponent is like staring at the playmat, like, you know, going like, why did I come here? And then to top it off, sometimes I'll have tokens. I'll take out tokens, and I'll just start putting them on the table, and then going like this. And then when my opponent does something, like, oh, right. And the best part was I did that to Bill Moo using some of his own tokens. It took him a solid 20 seconds to pause and go like, wait, what do you do? And I was like, oh, sorry, and I reordered them. Fact or fiction is an effect out of Magic the Gathering, but fact or fiction is where you take 4 cards, you reveal them, and you tell your opponent, put these into 2 piles. No, you put them into 2 piles, and tell your opponent, which of these do I put in my hand, and which of these do I put under my character, or in the case of Magic, put in my graveyard. And so it's a fun little decision space, but it's one where typically you are gaming those 4 cards, so your opponent doesn't have a good choice. But the best part is when you make them do it multiple times in the same turn by playing Showing Off to make your card flip and flip. I hate Fact or Fiction because I never feel like I make the right choice. That's the fun of it. So imagine in Transformers TCG, Perceptor, when you flip him to alt mode, I believe it is, when you flip to microscope mode, you induce a Fact or Fiction beat on your opponent. And then if you play Showing Off, he flips, and you do Fact or Fiction again. And then, you know, if I have, like, other funny flip cards, sometimes I can line it up to flip them again. And go like, hey, let's do Fact or Fiction again. And then my opponent starts going like, I'm going to kill Perceptor. I am targeting Perceptor. I'm like, oh, who are you going to target with your attacks? Perceptor! And then, you know, I'm like, that's fine. Because my main attacker is actually Sentinel Prime. And I didn't want to play any cards to put aggro magnet mechanics on Perceptor. I wanted to simply induce them by making you want to kill this character who's making you have to play Fact or Fiction over and over again. So you know, it's one of the balances of the world. Anyway, yeah, we had the little bricks here. I was able to get them to stand. You might see a video about these in video games sometime before TFCon LA. Omega Supreme deck when? What a good question. What a great question. What a good question. It's a very good question. Where'd that go? There it is. Hang on. What a good question. What a great question. What a good question. What a good question. It's a thoughtful query. What a good question. The creator of Flesh and Blood played in the recent world premiere event for Silver Age using a Phi Precon deck on stream, in fact, in the first round. And the best part of him playing Phi is when he started to play, he took the precon like this and just went like yep. And the commentators were like, can you do a judge call on the creator of the game for marked cards? Because he's choosing to play unsleeved. Can we do a judge call on that? And they could not. So the creator of the game played a game as Fi, unsleeved, on stream with someone who was playing Azalea for the first time. And in fact, stomped them a little bit. It was very funny. Proceeded to go on stream to open 3 of these, and in the third one pulled what used to be a $600 card reprinted, and then took off his headset and peaced out. And then, as far as I saw, he proceeded. Right. He then went to the marketplace where the dealers are. He went to the dealers' tables, found the French dealers, bought every single French copy of Felling of the Crown that was in the dealer room. It was a card that was spoiled ahead of schedule by a French vendor who just started spoiling lots of Super Slam and leaking just photos of cards and wrecking the spoiler season. So James White went and bought every French copy of Felling of the Crown and then ripped them all in half. And then was like, anyway, my job here is done. So he, like, punished the French marketplace for leaking a card by purchasing and ripping in half all the French copies he could find of one Majestic. And I thought that was really funny. There's a little bit, this is me fourth hand reporting it. There's probably a lot of tone missing from this. But it's a very, he is a very interesting, creator of a card game who wanders around actively on site. But there's just this photo of James White in an expensive jacket standing in front of a pile of ripped in half Fellings. And then just like this one line, like, James White bought all the French Fellings and destroyed them, and no explanation why. And yeah, I don't know. I found that very amusing. With all that said, it is. I have gone on an hour and a half longer than I intended. So I'm gonna grab the reins of this here horsey poo. I'm just gonna push that, and I'm gonna say, thanks for checking out the stream today. Boy, did we have fun talking about, playing with, ripping open, shuffling hard, and at one point putting in my mouth trading cards. I'm going to be back streaming on either Tuesday or Wednesday, most likely. Don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out something. But this was me finally stuffing in a second stream in a week, which is something I wanted to try doing a week ago. Didn't line up before, it lined up now. Anyway, what a fabulous day. I do have Ultraman card game coverage coming up on the channel. When I did a community post about it, someone said, okay, Logan, and I said, don't imply Logan Paul knows how to play card games, at which point they said they meant Wolverine. I don't believe them, but I chose to stop replying. But yeah, there's going to be my thoughts on the release event and an interview with EJ, who is the Canadian head for Ultraman card game. In my thoughts on the pre-release, I might shoot a little how to play, just so it's clear like how the game works. But that's some card stuff coming up. Toy stuff. Next review is very likely to be Age of the Prime's Skybite. I just have to film the last quarter of the footage for that. And you know how that goes. After that, I'm not sure what's going to be next, but 2 videos away from that, most likely, is going to be another G1 toy that I shot footage for like months ago. Just have to finish writing a script for that one. Anyway, those are the updates. So I will catch you all later. Have a good final moments of your weekend, maybe. Or have a great Monday that you're having right now. And that's also that's the first Logan anyone thinks of when it comes to cards. Anyway, I will talk to you all later. Take it easy. Stay safe.
Oh!
Let them come.